in our clubhouse getting high. Super fuckers. Everybody wishes we would die. Super fuckers. Here we come like a bomb. Everybody fucking run and hide.
Yeah, 420. Oh yeah. Hey, it's the Pizza Party Podcast, and it's 4:20 p.m. on a Sunday. I'm Pan Pizza. Who are you people? Hot honk.
It's 5:20 for me, so...
Yeah, it's 5:20 for me, too. Pan's a liar.
Damn, okay,
It's 2:20 for me.
Okay, Central Time. It's 4:20 in Central Time. The only Central Time it counts, because, you know, you always see, like, this show premieres at 7 Central, so, like, Central Time is, like, the most important thing they advertise.
Oh my
I never
God.
see that. I always see is Eastern. I always see Eastern.
Wait, do they change it for each place?
No, they don't, because when I was younger, I wanted to watch Cartoon Fridays, and they said, it's on at 7 p.m. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can tune in at 7 p.m. I tune at 7 p.m. It's an hour in. I missed two of my favorite shows, and I'm just like...
Oh. Yeah.
I think they specify both, because I remember seeing, like, 7:30 Eastern, and then so-and-so Central.
And we have a guest today. Who are you?
Hi, it's me, Spencer RothBell. How's it going? I do Clarence things.
What are those Clarence things? Who the heck are you?
I am the head writer on Clarence and the voice of Clarence as well.
Are you allowed to do the voice here?
I think so.
Hopefully.
I don't know what to say. Hey everyone, it's me, Clarence.
Clarence, you're not old enough.
How's it going?
Clarence, you're not old enough to be on this in this podcast. This is for adults.
Oh jeez. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye.
Because I know Tom Kenny's not allowed to do the SpongeBob voice anywhere else.
Oh really? I
think so.
I don't know what I am or am not allowed to do, but I just do it anyway, and I'll just get scolded if I did the wrong thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll find out when this podcast is up if you get in trouble or not. Because
I think I've done it before on other things, and nothing has come of it in a negative way.
We'll find out when this podcast gets taken down and re-upload with scenes different.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't know if you hate vocal requests or not, but there's only one thing I will ever ask you to say. There's this panel from this webcomic, Tales Gets Trolled, where this character doesn't have ears, and he says, "What? I don't have fucking ears." And I know you can't say fucking, but can you say, "What? I don't have ears"?
Sure, yeah. What? I don't have ears.
Yeah, okay, I never realized that Clarence did not have ears. I've never realized that until now.
None of the characters.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't think
yeah.
about these things like Mandy from Billy
Some
and
of
Mandy. She has no nose. I don't think about it.
Some of the Clarence characters have ears. I think Sumo has ears. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff has ears in like one shot in the pilot.
Oh.
But that's it.
Every time I look at Sumo, he looks like a butt ugly Martian, if you remember that show.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Someone
Yeah,
remembers
he's
it.
like a little feral Beavis and Butthead kid. I don't know what he looks like.
Oh, yeah, because in the first the pilot episode, like, Sumo literally just shows up. He wasn't even in the classroom. He just shows up.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved how it was just kind of felt like this kid just from the neighborhood, you know, like that was something we would always talk about.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a kid, you kind of just hang out with whoever's around. Like you're not really like making these big decisions. You're just kind of like, oh, there's another kid. Sure, let's play.
This kid who just snuck in, he's probably like secretly 38 years old, but you know, he looks like a kid.
Like Balance.
Yeah. But when did you get attached to Clarence? Like, when did you get on board the show?
2013, and I started just as a writer. Yeah, that's about when I started on the show, and I wrote 2 episodes, which would later become Jeff's New Toy and Slumber Party, and those were the first 2 that I wrote, kind of like as like a writing test sort of thing. So yeah, I wrote those, or at least early versions of those anyway, and then just was on the show for 4 years, a long time.
Yeah, were you there from the beginning?
Not the very beginning. I didn't work on the pilot, but I did work on the first kind of batch of episodes. Okay. There's some sort of uncredited stuff that I wrote. Like there's a little sequence in which episode is that? Clarence Gets Girlfriend, where there's like a dead frog at the end. I wrote that part.
Yeah.
And then I wrote like a couple lines of the song that Sumo sings to the cow toy.
Oh yeah, you had to extend the
face off.
Wasn't that? No, wait. I was thinking of some other episode. You had to extend the pilot.
Oh, not that one. Yeah, no. Yeah, that was the extended pilot. Yeah, that's different. But I'm talking about just like the song that Sumo. It's kind of like a parody of Toy Story 2. the song with Jesse where he's singing about this like toy of a cow from the Rough Riders. So I wrote like a little like scenes here and there, little jokes and things. There's a scene where they're trying to use a computer and Sumo's getting really frustrated with Jeff. He's like downloading updates. I remember I wrote that. Mm-hmm. So there's like little things here and there, but the first real full episodes I wrote were the Jeff's New Toy and Slumber Party.
But for Clarence, like, for those who don't know, well, basically the show is just, like, kids hanging out, and I feel like the show Clarence is something that just, like, people just, I don't know, brush off as, like, some dumb, gross-out show.
Yeah, which it does have some gross moments, but I feel like that's not the entirety of the show. Like, we're not trying to just be disgusting 24/7 on the show or something. Like, there's, like, a few moments where I'm like, oh, is that a little too much? Like, because I love stuff like Tim and Eric and Ren and Stimpy and like that kind of visceral scatological stuff. Like every once in a while, I like to like pitch something like that, but I hope it's not too much, you know. Like there's still some heartfelt stuff and some kind of like weird character based comedy, and I feel like that kind of stuff is what I'm mostly into, you know.
Because I don't know, I always see people in the comments just like angry, just like, how can you like Clarence? It's like, it's not, it's they just brush it off as just some gross out show, and it's like there's more to it than that.
I understand like people get kind of turned off by that stuff, or like, you know, there's people who are pretty sensitive to the gross out stuff, and like maybe that kind of rises to the top for them, and it's hard for them to look beyond that, which, you know, it's not for everybody, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes people get like a little mixed up with the whole, well, I don't like this, so this doesn't have a place on this channel, as if it only caters to them.
Right. Yeah. Which, you know, it's like variety is the spice of life, you know, like if all the shows were exactly the same, that would be kind of boring, I think.
Well,
you know,
one thing that kind of bugs me about like what I do and like what other people do similar to me is like we criticize children's cartoons, and it's like I don't think we really have any place to say this kid's show deserves to be canceled when I'm like 20 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of shows on TV that people really like that I don't really connect with, and there's shows that I really like that I'm sure a lot of people don't really understand why, and that's fine. I don't care, you know. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like I'm just excited when people like get something out of watching Clarence and they're connecting with it, whether it's they like the gross out stuff or they like the slapstick, or maybe they like the kind of satire that we do, or they like the real kind of grounded moments, or they get into the character stuff or whatever it is, you know. Like because that's why I like the show, for all those reasons, you know. So I think there's a lot for everybody if people give it a chance. Like, I think on the surface it might kind of look like something really stupid, but which there's definitely some stupid stuff in the show for sure, but I think there's a lot of things that kind of reward you for watching it all like in order, and there's little Easter eggs and callbacks and character development and world building and that kind of stuff, especially in the upcoming season 3. Like there's a lot more time that we've dedicated to some of the secondary characters, and we really give them a chance to be developed a little more and get their own episodes, and that's really fun, like almost like our own little Springfield or something.
Yeah. But speaking of world building, the city that Clarence lives in is Aberdale, and over the garden wall at the very end they show a building, and it's pretty much they pretty much ripped like a Clarence background and they recycled it for over the garden wall. So what's the deal with that?
The deal with that is they were producing Over the Garden Wall on the same floor as Clarence, and we were both just fans of each other's shows, and we were like, oh, this is really cool. And at one point, Nick Cross, who was working on that show, came up to me and was like, hey, like, can I get a background from you guys? Like, we thought it would be fun to kind of throw in a Clarence background into this. I think it's the last episode of the series, right? Where they kind of have like a wide shot of a cityscape, and so he modified it, like he recolored it and changed one of the buildings so that it would be
nighttime.
A hospital, right? Or one of the characters in
it was a hospital and it was nighttime.
Yeah. And then so kind of as just like a little nod, like a fun Easter egg thing for our show. And then so what we did is I went and asked for character designs for Wirt and Greg, and then we put those in the background of a shot in Lil Buddy. So there's a sequence where he's burying the doll in the woods and in Bendel Park on Clarence, and then you can see if you pay attention, it's really quick, but there's like two silhouettes of those characters kind of walking through the woods in the background. And we just thought it'd be fun. I don't know. I mean, like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, that show is like probably supposed to be New England in the 80s or something like that.
1980s.
And then
1800s.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I guess spoiler alert, but
somewhere,
like by the end of the show,
someone's gonna complain.
Oh, come on! It's been out for like 3 years.
Oh, we can't watch every movie ever made in the history of the world.
You've spoiled so much shit on this thing.
Oh shoot! So you actually haven't seen it yet. Oh,
I seen it. We all seen it.
It's the 1880s. Just kidding. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is like it doesn't really make sense that like our show is sort of like Arizona and like ambiguous time period. Like I always talk about Napoleon Dynamite, where it's like it could be the 90s, it could be present day, it could be the 70s or 80s, and like it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of how I always felt about Clarence too. Like it always bugs me when like one of the designers will throw in like an actual date on something, on a prop in the show, and I'm like, oh man, like ruined. I just love that ambiguity of like maybe it is present day and it's just like this small town, so like they're kind of behind a little bit. Like I grew up in a small town and it kind of just feels like the 80s or 90s, even though it was like the early 2000s, you know. So I think kind of that idea was something that we always wanted to go with. Plus it's like not fun to see cartoons with like an iPad or something. Like it dates it so like quickly, like because in 5 years we're all going to be using like some other technology and it'll look bad, you know what I mean? Like we wanted to have that nostalgic sort of timeless quality on Clarence, and you could watch it and kind of it could feel nostalgic whether you grew up in any time period, basically. Plus, I always loved all the old technology in shows like Adventure Time, and also on Tim and Eric. Like I love all the like kind of crappy old computers. Like that stuff is always funny to me. So we thought it would be funny on Clarence. It's like, okay, well, maybe they'll have a cell phone, but it'll be like a big clunky brick with an antenna, or maybe they'll have a computer, but it will look like it's really old. And that stuff is endlessly amusing to me.
but down below, I'll link to the Easter eggs for Clarence and Over the Garden Wall in the description. But yeah, it does feel just timeless. Oh, what is he?
I would say I just introduced my roommate to Over the Garden Wall just like yesterday. And it was just really fun to like see her reaction to everything, just being like, oh, and then I recognize the background you guys are talking about, where it's just like it's because I think I saw it online, like because I haven't actually watched Clarence. I've seen like one thing where I think it's like him digging out of a dumpster, like it's like one continuous shot. It's just the same shot.
That could just be me.
That's funny.
No.
Yeah, well, if you have Hulu, there's a bunch on Hulu. That's probably the easiest way to watch it. The easiest legal way to watch it.
Legal, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But don't buy the streams. Don't go on the illegal stream. Buy the episode, because then we can keep making stuff.
Yeah, keep making more episodes of Clarence.
Well, that's not going to happen with Clarence, but for any other show that
like. What do you mean it's not going to happen? So
what you're saying is that every one of these kids that watch stuff on Kiss Cartoon and Kiss Anime...
That's why their favorite shows get canceled, because...
What the heck?
That doesn't support the show. You gotta watch it on TV, or buy it on iTunes, or watch it on Hulu or Amazon.
Or buy the merchandise. Did Clarence get any merchandise whatsoever?
Yeah, there's some. There's no. Let me think about it. There's one toy that's coming out from Titan.
Oh boy.
And it's sort of like what are those toys called? They're like vinyl toys, and it's a set of Cartoon Network toys. It's kind of similar to that. Of Clarence, and then we have books and comics and stuff. Like there's a graphic novel.
I think Clarence is in the Cartoon Crisis board game that I own. Like it's one of the playable characters. I'm pretty sure. I might be making that up.
And he's also in some video game, Cartoon Network Castle Bashers, Battle Crashers, something like that.
Battle something or other. Yeah, and then there's also a mobile game that's actually pretty cool. That's it's kind of based on this one episode where they play this pirate-themed board game. Mm-hmm. And there's like a mobile game that came out that's sort of connected to that. That's pretty good. Like, it has some actual voice acting in it, and it has some pretty funny writing, and it's cool. Like, it's also just like a fun playable game that's not just like, you know, like a modded version of Tetris or something lame. You know, like actually like a cool game that they spent some time building. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, there's a official Mad Libs, like a Clarence Mad Libs, and there's
I enjoy those Cartoon Network Mad Libs, although I use them for the wrong reasons.
It's like Clarence went to the butt to get some butt, very buttly.
That's not the words I use. I use something way worse.
Oh man, but yeah, so there's some merch. I mean, obviously, I would love for like any kind of toy or whatever. Like, well, there's that one toy coming out, but oh man. Maybe one day. We'll see. I would love a proper DVD set. That would be great. Yeah. But I was told that they don't really sell very well, like season sets. Like that's why like
people stream
even for
now.
Adventure Time and like some of the more popular shows, like they have like themed sets where it's like this one's all about princesses or this one's all about, you know, the Ice King or whatever. Like they don't really do like season 1, season 2. Yeah. Just streaming or iTunes or whatever. That's probably your best bet.
It's super upsetting because like I used to collect like box sets, like cartoons. Like I just like that was like they're trophies or something where it's like, hey, someone walks in, they get to see all the cartoons I'm into, and they have like a good idea of what my tastes are. And I enjoy owning that physical media, but like it's just not something that's a thing right now.
Yeah.
Especially for stuff that's hard to find too. It's like because not all these streaming services have everything. Like there's some type of stuff you can't find anywhere.
Yeah.
You want to own Symbiotic Titan physically, you have to order it from India or something.
Well, yeah, like that show Mission Hill. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, and I bought the DVD of it because it was like impossible to find. And I was like, oh, I really like that show.
DVD's great though. The packaging on it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a good DVD set.
Although I know the creators of Mission Hill, like they got the rights to make merchandise at least, so they're doing that. So. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, they're selling official merchandise of Mission Hill now. Like, they got the rights back a year ago or so. So maybe they're going to do something with it eventually. I really
there's some cool Clarence shirts. They made a fart cactus shirt.
Oh, yeah,
that was cool.
The fart
That's
cactus.
like the best. That's like the best thing they have. Like, the rest of the shirts are like kind of like, hey, it's just the logo of the show. But, like, the fart cactus one is like pretty cool.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't remember the episode, essentially it's about Clarence. He started making comics for the newspaper, the school newspaper, and it was just a 3-page panel, and on the last panel was just a cactus that farts, and that's it. But all the teachers hated it, and they just wanted to censor it. It's a whole episode about censorship, and I forget, who's that girl we know from Ben 10, Katrin?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was telling us, wasn't that like some sort of meta thing where you had to actually fight to get that episode done?
Well, yeah, originally we wanted to call it Fart Cactus, and then they're like, you can't call it Fart Cactus, so we changed the name to Freedom Cactus, which is a reference to Freedom Fries. Anyone remembers that whole debacle? Kind of poking fun at censorship. And yeah, I don't think the irony was lost on anyone that I remember we had this long meeting where we were haggling, like pitching through the storyboard and being like, okay, well, if we change this person saying the word fart to like toot, can we keep this other person saying the word fart? Or like, if we change it to a fart sound effect, can we keep this other time where we said fart? And I think we went from like 22 times of the word fart being said in the episode to like 8 or something like that. I forget what the exact numbers were, but that was definitely like a surreal moment of just being like, my job is to be a lawyer for farts right now. Like, I'm just like, this is why it's important, why this character needs to say the word fart right here because of this, and this is why it's relevant to the story, and like kind of arguing the case for something very stupid, which, you know, the whole episode, you know, like that's kind of the joke, is that it's it's secretly about something that is important to me, which is censorship. But the joke is that the thing that the characters are defending is something kind of pointless, and like it's like literally just 3 panels of a cactus, and the last one it farts. Like, it's the dumbest, like not, you know, relevant to anything comic ever, just like stupid. Like, I don't know, but yeah, so that's kind of the whole joke.
Attention, attention, people of the cactus, it is I, hello. They thought they could take away our cactus and our corn, but they can't keep us silent, no. Today we are here as brothers. Yeah! And sisters. Yeah! Solidarity! To let our cactus toot. Let the cactus fart. Let the cactus fart. Let the cactus fart.
So Cartoon Network needed you to like only say fart a certain amount of times.
I mean, I get it. They don't want parents to turn on the TV and then the kids are watching a show where it's just like fart, 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 and they'll change the channel, of course, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand that concern.
I find that really funny because when I was younger, I specifically remember watching Cow and Chicken, and the devil guy screams, "Shut up, mother!"
Oh yeah, well, you know,
he's the devil.
Times.
In comparison to that, farts just feels really petty, pedantic. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing now is that, well, the thing about that is, like, of course there's stuff from the 90s, like, look at Ren and Stimpy. I don't think we'd ever be able to do any of that stuff now, but it's just a different climate, and people are a little more sensitive, and, you know, it's easier for people to freeze frame things and cut them up and upload them on the internet, and like everyone can really look through shows with a magnifying glass and a fine-tooth comb, and I think that kind of the internet is why we have to be more careful now. Which, it's like, I get it. They don't, and like I don't want to give the impression that we're ever trying to make something offensive or crass for the sake of being crude or anything like that. Like, it's mostly just us thinking that we're making something very tame, and then having other people say, "Hey, you guys, that's not as tame as you think it is." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think people, like, they're always at the same level of sensitivity, except like nowadays we just have internet, and now there's just a platform for it.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've definitely gotten away with a lot of pretty crazy stuff on the show that I never thought we would be able to. So it's take it with a grain of salt. You know, like we've been able to do some pretty bizarre out there stuff on Clarence. So I'm like, whatever. Like, we have a whole episode about like a weird man that dresses up like a child and pretends to be going to a school with kids. So it's like, I guess if we can do that, then I don't know, like, how can I complain? We get to do some bizarre premises. So.
What was that guy's name? What was that guy's?
Balance,
Clarence and Balance.
Yeah, which that was like the dumbest. That just came from us saying like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if there was like a mashup of Belson and Clarence, and then we just started drawing me and Nelson Bowles, who is a showrunner on Clarence for a while, and we were just talking about like, yeah, like what if it's just like Clarence's design, but everything is flipped, so like the lumps of his hair are upside down, and like the nose and the teeth and everything, and that's kind of how Balance was born. And then I don't know where the voice came from, but I just started doing this weird voice, and me and Nelson would do it back and forth, and we're like, oh, we got to put this character into an episode somehow. And I think that is one of the episodes that breaks the reality of our show pretty hard. Like, we tend to keep it pretty grounded. I mean, we'll dip into surreal stuff, but we usually explain it away with like, oh, it was a dream, or it was this person's imagination or whatever. But that one, we're just like, nope, this is just a crazy thing that happened in the show. Like, whatever.
Yeah, because one thing I like about Clarence is like the show is mostly grounded, but on the few times it does have anything surreal happen, like it just pops out and just makes it even more strange.
Yeah, I think that's to me what makes those moments so funny, is that the contrast is really strong. You know, like we'll have an episode that is mostly very sweet and kind of heartfelt and grounded, but then we'll have these like little departures into bizarro town, and then it like really hopefully catches you off guard, and you're like, oh, what was that? Okay.
Didn't you have like a weird reference to The Shining, the dog person from The Shining?
We did, yeah. That one got changed, but It was, yeah, Clarence, that's in Rough Riders Elementary, which the premise of that episode is Clarence's school gets sponsored by Rough Riders Chicken, which is sort of like a KFC type franchise. And they slowly take over the school and brainwash everyone to become employees of Rough Riders. And so we did some kind of horror. Well, that one has like an Eyes Wide Shut reference that made it in, which is pretty crazy, where he's like, he walks in and there's like a bunch of people wearing those masks. But yeah, there was a Shining thing where he looked down the hallway and it was like a guy in a chicken suit and he was eating chicken out of someone's lap. And it was pretty, like, we pushed it pretty far.
God.
So I think that was reasonably cut out. And then
I swear I saw that on TV.
something.
I swear.
It was on. We put it. I put it on our like crew Tumblr,
Okay.
so it's online,
Yeah.
but in storyboard form. But that's it. That when I saw that in the board, I don't think that was even written in the outline. Like when they boarded that, I was cracking up.
Jeez.
But yeah, there's some stuff that's a little too far. But we've done like there's some other crazy references. Like we did a take on Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the end of Belson Sleepover, which is like basically a shot for shot like recreation of Leatherface with the chainsaw. And then there's another reference to American Psycho with Jeff in an episode called which one is that? Average Jeff at the beginning, where we kind of go through his day in the same way that we go through Patrick Bateman's day. So there's some like, you know, like people think it's just this like sort of cutesy, goofy show, which it is, but there's some stuff in there for the
strange
grown-ups.
stuff to...
You know, if you like movies and, you know, other TV shows and things, there's all kinds of references. And,
yeah. But yeah,
especially season 3, there's some really cool stuff I'm super excited about. I don't know exactly when it's going to start airing again, but I think sometime within the next 3 months. So I'll keep everyone posted online.
But one weird joke that you had, I talked about this a long ass time ago, but it was this Clarence saw like a mountain lion in his backyard, and he just says, "Oh no, a mountain lion," and it just cuts to black for no reason, and it's back to Clarence saying, "Oh no, a mountain lion," and like I understood what that joke was. It was basically,
he says, "Oh no, a bear." He mistakes it for a bear.
Yeah.
That was us. I don't know where I came up with that, but I was just thinking, I think because I watched a lot of TV shows that are 22-minute TV shows, but like on Netflix. So like Futurama or whatever, or The Simpsons. And what will happen is they'll still have those commercial break fade outs and fade ins. Mm-hmm. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll have the same line even repeat. Because, you know, just to kind of like catch the audience up on the scene if they're just tuning in. And we just thought it would be funny to insert a fake one of those, because since Clarence is 11 minutes, there is no commercial break. So it's just like an artificial commercial break. I don't know. Yeah, I fought really hard to keep that in the episode too. I was like, no, it's going to be great. Please let us do this weird thing. Like, I don't know.
That joke only like 10 people are going to get.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff where it's like, we had an episode called, oh geez, I'm blanking on the name of the episode title. There's so many of them in my brain right now. Mm-hmm. It's an episode about Clarence kind of learning how to say no and kind of taking time to do some self-care. But we did like a fake out end credits in that one where it's almost like we're starting at the end of an imagined episode. Mm-hmm. So you don't really get to see what led up to this like ending, this fake ending. Mm-hmm. And then we started playing the credit sequence from the end of the show, and then we cut out of it back into the show.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, every once in a while we get to play with format like that, and that's really fun. Like we've done a lot of genre jumping stuff where it's like, this episode is like a sitcom, this one is like a horror movie, this one's kind of like a thriller, and just kind of playing with those different tropes and seeing how we can imagine the show a little differently. And that's always been really fun as well.
I live on Salem Lane in Aberdale, Arizona. My name is Jeff Randall. I'm in the 4th grade. I have my own set of tastes, and I like my things a certain way. Shower for 8 minutes, brush teeth for 2 minutes. I'm special.
But yeah, so Clarence is ending?
Clarence is ending, but it's going to continue premiering through 2018. So season 3 will be the last season, unfortunately. But it's a really good season, and there's so much cool stuff in it I'm really excited about. So yeah, it's going to keep airing through 2018, so it's not ending anytime soon. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. I don't know what I'm allowed to like officially announce yet, but let's just say there's some more experimenting with formats and maybe some longer form stuff, and got some cool guest stars, got some more character development. Some of the side characters like Mr. Reese and Belson have their own episode, and Miss Shoop has her own episode, and there's some cool stuff.
Can I ask a question about guest stars?
Sure, yeah.
So, like, how does the process of a guest star happen in a show? Do you write a character and then just happen to, like, catch one of them, or do you get a guest star and then write a character for them?
No, I mean, well, for us, it's just that I don't know. I mean, like on Clarence, we don't really like to do a lot of stunt casting, especially because we want to keep the tone of the show pretty grounded. And I always felt like in animation, if there's a celebrity guest star, it can be a little distracting sometimes. Like it kind of takes you out of the world of the show, where it's like, you know, The Simpsons, and randomly Britney Spears shows up to Springfield, and you're kind of like, oh, that doesn't really seem like it would happen, you know, like that. Like we didn't want it to turn into that sort of SNL Simpsons Celebrity of the Week kind of thing. So we tried to, as much as we could, like not indulge ourselves too much. Like we would always say, like, well, does this person feel like they're a good fit for this episode, or is it just someone that we want to meet? You know, so hopefully we walk the line with that. But yeah, the way it works is typically we'll be talking about it at the writing stage. Like, oh, like as we develop a character, we usually think of somebody like, oh, it would be really funny if they were voiced by this comedian or this actor. Like, oh, let's see if we can get them. And then we'll usually reach out to our casting director if it's like a bigger star, like to send some stuff out as early as possible to try to see if we can get them on board. But yeah, there's never really been any character that we've written where we're like, this has to be this actor or else it won't work. But yeah, we have a few like who's coming up? Reginald Bell Johnson is going to be in the new season, which he is the police officer from Die Hard, and also Carl Winslow on Family Matters. So he'll be in an episode coming up, which is pretty cool. And then
wait, Carl, you mean Police Academy? Wait, you said Family Matters.
Yeah, Carl Winslow from Family Matters.
Wait, never mind, I'm confused.
You know Steve Urkel and
that's Jaleel White,
right?
Jaleel White's Urkel.
No. I'm saying the dad on Family Matters.
Oh,
is Carl Winslow. Howdy-ho, Winslow. Hey, big guy. You know.
Wait,
so you know, Pan, there's more characters on that show than just Steve Urkel.
No, because it's like you said Winslow. Right. It's like, how many people are named Winslow? How many cop characters are named Winslow, the actor? I mean,
no, didn't he appear in a book? No.
So
yeah, go ahead.
The character on Family Matters, who's the cop who is the dad in the family, his name is Carl Winslow.
Okay.
But the actor's name is Reginald Bell Johnson. And then he plays a different cop in Die Hard.
Yeah, like he's also in like, I think there's something else where he was a cop, but like even BoJack Horseman brought that up in the Christmas special, and like why he's a cop everywhere.
No one should be alone on Christmas. Did we learn nothing from John McClane in Die Hard?
John McClane was alone on Christmas. That's how he saved the day.
He wasn't alone. He had that cop helping him, the dad from Family Matters.
That wasn't the dad from Family Matters. It was just the same actor.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be the same character. They're both cops.
Yeah, but one was a cop in Los Angeles and the other was a cop in Chicago.
Maybe he moved.
He didn't move. They had different names.
Witness protection. Hey, this is nice, right?
No.
I love stuff like that. Like the actor from Law and Order who plays Munch, he's like in a bunch of shows as that same character. Like I think like 4 different Law and Orders, and also in the X-Files and a bunch of movies and stuff. But he's always playing that same character. I was like, that's something kind of cool about that, like world jumping kind of thing. But anyway, who else do we have? I mean, in the past, we've gotten like Amy Sedaris, and who I love from Strangers with Candy, and we've gotten John Waters was in an episode. He played a airline captain pilot. Yeah, those are old ones.
Oh no, Jim would love that.
So yeah, we try not to do it too much. Like typically what we look for is like people who are maybe like they have improvisational skills, like they can do improv comedy, maybe like a stand-up or an improv comic, like someone who does sketch comedy, up and coming, but not so recognizable that it you just think of that actor, you know? Like at one point we were thinking about trying to cast Jeff Goldblum for a role, and I was like, as much as I love Jeff Goldblum, like I love Jurassic Park and The Fly and everything else that he's been in, we were like, it's just gonna sound like Jeff Goldblum, and when you watch the show, you're not going to think about the character. You're just going to think of that actor, you know? And there's something about that kind of ruins the illusion of the character for me. Oh, and we have a great episode with Brent Weinbach, who is a comedian that I really like. He's on this web series called Pound House, and he does stand-up and stuff. But it's so funny. It's called Cool Guy Clarence. I forget if that's the final title that we settled on, but yeah, look out for that. Brent Weinbach plays one of my favorite characters that we've had on the show ever. He's like so funny. But yeah, so that's my long-winded answer about guest stars. But
thanks. I've always like thought about that, you know, because it's just, you know, all of a sudden there's this big person on the show. Is it just because obviously, you know, having a bigger person, you get that press from that, you know, you get like a little bit of a push being like, show and show is on the show, cool, and you might get some of their audience.
Yeah, but we just always thought it would be kind of cringy to have an episode where it's like, oh my gosh, Lady Gaga, it's you, you know, like it's like, ugh, like I would just want to turn off the TV, like if it was that like pandering, you know, like because it's like, I don't know, like I don't want to be on such a high horse about it, you know, like. I'm sure it would be funny and fine depending on the context, but you know, like I don't want to be such a snob, but as much as we could, we held back. There's still some of that a little bit, but hopefully not to the point where it's like makes you groan when you watch it, you know.
Oh my gosh, Nicki Minaj's Sugalite.
Hey, we went to shoot Opa Gangnam Style, yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, like that would be real bad. Or just like, yeah, like referencing it. Anything that's like trying to be cool, I always think is like, it's the opposite of comedy. Like trying to reference anything too topical or trying to. Then whenever you see stuff like that in animation, my mind always just goes to like a room full of really out of touch like uncles or something. Like, what are the kids like these days? Oh, they're on the Snapchat and the Twitters, right? Let's put a joke about that in the show, and then you're like, oh man, like.
Well, on top of that, animation, like at most episodes start production a year in advance of airing, so like
right, yeah,
as soon as you make a trend,
it's like, yeah, it's gonna be totally not relevant.
This reminds me, today I was watching FXX with The Simpsons, and they had a promo for the new episode that's coming on today, and the new episode of The Simpsons has them playing Pokemon Go, essentially.
Dang.
A little late on that one.
Pokemon Go?
I literally almost just made a joke before you said that.
Go to the Simpsons website.
Time for if only Pokemon go to the polls, honk honk.
Yeah, exactly.
This reminds me of
Pokemon Go to Springfield.
They need to bring back Rock the Vote, although they gotta do it with the Teen Titans and say Teen Titans go to the polls.
There you go.
Yeah.
Clarence, go to the polls. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't knock The Simpsons. They've been on for 1,000 years. I mean, how do they even make an episode? I heard that they have someone on staff that their whole job is to make sure that they're not repeating themselves. Like if someone says like, oh, like I want to pitch an episode about Mo, you know, forming a rock group or something, and then they'll be like, oh well, actually in season 5 episode whatever we did this kind of similar thing. And
damn, that's a job I could do.
Like I don't know how those writers continue to make a show that's been on that long. Like, kudos to them for that.
Well, that whole Simpsons did it right. Well, there's apparently an advanced version. There's an advanced version of it where it goes looking at Simpsons doing Simpsons. So like what later Simpsons season just redid an older Simpson plot.
Yeah, which it's inevitable. Like even on Clarence, we've had some thematic overlap, and we were only on for 3 seasons. But there's some episodes where we're like, like we were talking about, we're like, is this too similar to this other thing that we did? And we're like, it's different enough, right? Yeah, okay. You know, like we'd have that conversation sometimes, and we would scrap stuff too. Like if it was really similar, we'd be like, what are we doing here? Like, are we just kind of rehashing stuff? Like we never wanted to do that. So. But yeah, what can I talk about? Okay, I'll just talk about stuff in the new season. There's an improvised episode coming out that's really cool. Totally improvised dialogue, which is something we never did before, which is really fun. And because I'm a big fan of shows like Dr. Katz and home movies that kind of use that style where it's all ad-libbed and then they animate to the audio. So there's an episode coming out like that. I don't want to spoil too much about it beyond that. And then there's an episode that's go ahead.
I'm just picturing like Clarence and his friends just sitting around in a room and they're all just wiggly outlined and just having a long awkward discussion.
Yeah, there was a moment where we talked about that. Like, are we gonna do squiggle vision? Like, okay, let's not go that far. You know, like let's just kind of make it its own thing.
The only thing that concerns me about that. The thing that concerns me about that is that like Rick and Morty also does improv episodes.
Yes, they do.
And I felt like they're the weakest ones. I don't know. I didn't
really?
Like
I love those.
Okay, I like this. I like the first one better than the second one, but yeah.
Piece of human garbage. Jeez, Gazorp Azorpfield, that's, you're pretty mean to me, but that takes the cake. I don't give a fuck. I'm Gazorp fucking Field, bitch. Now give me my fucking enchilada. Hey, Rick, did they use Bill Murray for this?
Oh man, I could listen to Justin Roiland just like ad lib forever. He cracks me up. I love the take. I love they left the take of him laughing in it. That's the best.
Yeah.
So like, I just love that. Like they're not trying to hide it at all, and they're just like, yeah, this is just a guy like having fun. Like you can just feel how much fun they're having with it. Like something about that is so funny to me.
I agree. Well, I think that's like half of what YouTube used to be like, is where you could it's everyone's in on the joke of just like everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, so, like there's definitely bits in those episodes that I really really enjoyed, and probably some of the funniest moments in there. I just felt like as a whole, I didn't enjoy it as much as say any of the other episodes.
Yeah, well, with the one we did, we recorded 4 hours worth of audio and we cut it down to 11 minutes. So hopefully it's like enough of like the best stuff that we did that it works. And like I wrote an outline for it before we started, so we knew what we were. Like we had like something to follow. So it wasn't just totally walking into the booth like with nothing, like we had a lot of material to work off of.
It's not just like at the end of the middle of the episode, now we're on the moon.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be that wacky. It's like, it's a pretty grounded storyline. It's more just that the dialogue we made it up as we went along. That's cool. But I don't want to spoil too much about it. And then there's an episode that's all from Clarence's home video camera, like as if you found a tape of his. And so like start to finish, it's like as if he's filming it, like a found footage kind of thing. So that one's pretty fun because I love like horror movies that are found footage, but also in comedy that's kind of trying to be like again, Tim and Eric is a big influence. Like check it out with Dr. Steve Brule and those shows that have that sort of VHS aesthetic. Like there's something really fun about exploring that. And especially for a show that's about nostalgia, like, I don't know, like when I was a kid, I had like a crappy black and white sort of really toy home video camera that me and my friends would make videos on. And I think there's something like nostalgic about that hopefully other people will relate to.
I don't know. It just has like a lot of strange little things you can't really describe, but they just do it. And it just feels there's things you did as a child that you don't think about until Clarence brings it up, Yeah,
I mean, that's the big part of the comedy of the show to me is about sort of examining those childhood things as an adult and sort of both putting yourself in the mindset of when you were a kid and these little things that were so important to you, but then also kind of showing both sides of it and kind of seeing what's funny about it now as an adult, looking back and just being like, oh, why was that such a big deal to us back then? Like that, this thing is kind of silly and pointless, but also like honoring it and treating it respectfully at the same time. And but yeah, I mean, I never want to do anything that's like, remember that time? Like, hey guys, remember Pogs? Hey everybody, Pogs. Like, I don't want to do that, Yeah,
it's more universal.
Like, yeah, like it's more like hopefully the episodes work without that too. Like if it's just kind of like, here's like a fun childhood experience that anyone could have experienced something like this, whether it's, you know, like there's a big story arc in season 3 about Sumo transferring to another school, and starting with Sumo Goes West is the first episode of the season premiere, which already aired. And so we kind of track that throughout the season. I think like 5 or 6 episodes sprinkled throughout kind of deal with that. And, you know, that was like a real world thing from my childhood. Is I moved around a lot as a kid, and I've had friends that moved away too. And when you're a kid, you know, you don't have a car, you don't really have any means to visit these people. So it's kind of like once they're out of your town or out of your school, they're sort of out of your life. And just kind of dealing with that and how it impacts their friendship and tracking that. And we thought it would be kind of an interesting way to also move our stories outside of the school, because I felt like season 2, it was like turning into the school show a little bit. And we're like, oh, let's kind of pull them out into the world a little more and expand out beyond the school some more. So hopefully that worked.
But yeah, this is all great information. Does anyone else have any other questions about Clarence?
0 crickets. I'm an open book. I don't know. I feel like I should have some like talking points on hand, but I'm kind of just going for it. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. I mean, there's like some long form stuff coming up. We did do one 22-minute special, capture the flag, water balloon fight. That was sort of like a big war epic, which was pretty fun. But there's going to be some more stuff coming out that's like long form stuff this season, and a lot more character development stuff about Miss Baker, and stuff about Mr. Reese and Delson, and some other episodes coming. Yeah, go ahead.
So like, okay, so you said you did a 22-minute special. So
yes,
I'm just, this is guessing on my part, but I assume most of the Clarence is bought in like pairs, right? Like, you know, 2 episodes are kind of like bought as if like they're 1 episode, as far as production goes, or because like, you know.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, because they'll air them back to back. They don't always do that. Like sometimes they'll just air at 11 minute, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's like it's bought in 22 minutes, even though it's split into 11 minutes.
Yeah. So like, how's the decision making go to make a 22, like a 2-parter? Is that like the writers are like, man, we have this story, we feel like it should be done in 2 parts, or is it like Cartoon Network being like, hey, we would really like to do a special, like whose decision, or is it either or? They
came to us, and well, not for this 22-minute in particular. They didn't ask us; we asked them. We're like, hey, we want to do this as a bigger story. There's actually another 11-minute episode. Like originally, the Capture the Flag was going to be 11 minutes, and then we had another 11-minute episode that we didn't get that far into production, like maybe just the outline or something, and we're like, does anyone really like this? None of us liked it, and we didn't want to go all the way through with it because we just didn't think that it was like the level of quality that we wanted to produce a full episode. So we were like, well, everyone seems to really like the Capture the Flag episode, and that outline was pretty long, and we're like, well, it seems like we have a lot here. We could expand out and like give it a little more breathing room, and it might be really fun to kind of turn into this big epic special. And so we asked them, and they were really into it, because anything they can promote is like good for them, you know, like if it can be like, hey, it's a special event, tune in, you know, like that's always helpful. So yeah, they were really on board for it. But yeah, they have asked us in the past, like, you know, like we have holiday specials like Halloween and Christmas and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and stuff. And they asked us if we wanted to do it, but they never tell us we have to. It's always just kind of like, hey, if you guys have an idea for this kind of thing, could you do it? And typically we're like, yeah, that sounds great. Like we love Halloween. We have another Halloween episode coming.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty funny and weird and crazy. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, cool Mother's Day episode. There's a lot of good stuff coming up this season that I'm just like really into. The Miss Shoop episode that one hasn't aired yet,
Miss
right?
Shoop the Whoop.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's called Clarence Loves Shoopy, and that one is like one of my favorites.
Wait, who's Shoop again? Who's Shoopy again?
Miss Shoop. Miss Shoop is
the teacher. The one teacher.
She's like the
angry one.
Schoolyard proctor. Yeah, the one who's kind of like
basically Miss Frizzle. No, not Miss Frizzle. Who's that lady from Recess? You know, the one Randall would always suck up to.
Oh, yeah.
Miss
I don't know the
Finster.
character's name, but yeah, a little, some similarities there, but a little different. But yeah, she's like the grumpy, little buddy. She's the one that gives him detention.
Oh no, yeah, that episode,
or the timeout that like causes him to miss the entirety of recess and sends him spiraling.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a really fun character that we've brought back a lot in the third season, and she has some really fun stuff. Like, there's 2 episodes in particular, that one and another one that are like pretty Miss Shoop heavy in a fun way.
Yeah. But I love that one episode where the little buddy episode where Clarence I think he breaks his puppet toy and he goes on like this edgelord phase, you know.
Yeah, that's the same episode. So it's kind of like he has this toy that's kind of like a My Buddy doll, which, if you don't know what that is, just think of Chucky from the Chucky series. But the original were like My Buddy and Kid Sister. So it's called Lil Buddy, and it's this creepy doll, and he can't really understand why his classmates don't think this doll is as amazing as he does. He's kind of like, oh, this is like the coolest thing ever. Like, why doesn't everyone love this weird doll like I do? And so he's having trouble connecting with other kids. And then, so he's already kind of off on a bad start. And then he has to sit in timeout during recess, and the person who tells him to forgets about him. So he misses the whole recess. And so he thinks he's just kind of not being heard and being misunderstood. And it sends him in a dark spiral until finally Ms. Baker, his teacher, kind of realizes something's up, and she gives him a recess to make up for it, which is all he really wanted. So has a sweet ending. But trying to think. Oh, there's an episode called Rock Show. That one already aired, right?
Yeah, the one where they dress all punk like in a bowling alley.
Yeah, it has Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, who people might know as Neil Hamburger, and I'm a big fan of both of those guys. Also on Cinema and Decker, if anyone knows about those web series.
Oh yeah, my niece Nicholas loves that stuff.
Oh, cool.
Stop calling her your niece.
Jeez, why are you ashamed of her?
We're not ashamed of her. We're ashamed of you.
Look, I'm just talking about my niece.
What's going on?
We're having family issues, and Izzy's just like mad that I bring up my niece, that I care for, Nicholas. It's nothing.
My niece, Denise.
It's not his niece.
Shut up.
Oh.
Okay, look, we just role play. I pretend to be the young.
Moving on.
Anyway.
God damn it, man. We have a good guest. Stop
sounds like some creepy stuff. Like some weird stuff. Anyway, there's an episode of Clarence for President that aired that's pretty cool. It's about Clarence running for school president. I don't know if you guys have seen that one yet.
I don't think so.
It's got some fun moments in it.
Although, you know what I want to see from... Okay, this is a terrible, terrible thing. I should probably cut it out. But you know what I want to see from that... I'm assuming from this episode, I don't know, maybe like Clarence is riding in like his... one of those toy cars that kids ride in, those Jeeps, that...
By the way, fair warning, every idea Pan throws at people, it's usually the worst thing ever. Just fair warning.
I mean, also, the show has wrapped writing, so you can pitch me anything you want.
All right.
I'm currently looking for a new job, so
oh god,
it's not gonna make it to air, unfortunately.
Yeah, all our jobs are screwed. YouTube screwed us all over too. But anyway, so my idea essentially, like maybe
Cartoon Network did not screw me over. I want to go on record saying that I was very happy with our relationship, and I hope to work for them again in the future.
It was mutual. But yeah, essentially, like maybe have like Jeff driving the car and Clarence is riding out back, waving to all the people since he's now the school president, and someone throws a dodgeball at his head.
That's not a scene in it, but you should watch it and hopefully you'll like it.
Did you just make a parallel to a kid's cartoon to an assassination?
We didn't do that. There's some Trump stuff in it though. There's some Trump Bernie stuff in it.
That's too topical, you asshole. I didn't mean to call you
this video just became unmonetizable.
God dang it.
There is some Bernie and Trump stuff in there, but
we
wrote
topical humor.
We wrote it before the election.
Oh my god!
We didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but there's some references to both of those candidates. We wrote pretty early on in the running.
we're not allowed to talk about topical stuff anymore because there's like a list of things that like will make your video unmonetizable by YouTube standards now, because they apparently YouTube lost like a shit ton of advertisers because people kept having these not safe for work videos. Like, so they're just like, why is my video next to a racist video? Or why is my ad in front of a racist video? Take this out. And then so YouTube panicked and then like made a safe mode. And then like, because YouTube has this big giant archive of things and it's not properly like, you know, its safe mode took out like things like gay, took things that are political, took like anything that could be remotely seen as like a negative thing politically was just like removed. And so like you have to like really you have to really like dance around certain things to get your videos to actually have ads in front of them now.
Oh wow. So you can't even mention Trump or Bernie.
No, this
you
video
can't acknowledge
you're ruining everything. Quiet.
Just cut that stuff out.
Oh God, it's over.
Actually, Pan, I'm really curious, but like, how hard did this hit you personally?
My monetization's down to half what it was.
Okay, yeah.
So I got a YouTube sponsor for this month, so that'll cover that up. So it's you know, it's normal now, but what's gonna happen the next month and the month after that?
Because like, Yo Mama, the channel I used to work for.
You could just be like Mother's Basement and chill out to every possible revenue, and then in each video go, "Hey guys, I'm shilling out to basically everything. Aren't I so quirky?"
Look, I got to. You know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
However, my personal channel took no hit.
Son of a bitch.
Right. Like, well, because my videos, my old ones, were just watch me draws. There was no politicalness to it, so it's just there's no opinion. It's just these flat things. So like, I actually haven't seen any drop of ad revenue. But the Yo Mama channel I used to animate for dropped 60%.
Oh, you're like the guy who's immune to all the zombies and the zombie outbreak.
You're Ellie from The Last of Us.
Yeah, spoilers.
It's not spoilers. It's in the beginning of the game.
Not everyone's played the beginning of the game, you know. Like, you know, I mean, I'm okay. Look, it's kind of weird because I'm like weird with spoilers because, like, you know, I don't want to know what happens at the end of Breaking Bad. But what if, like, I have no interest in that show? But what if one day I do? So it's kind of like a personal investment, you know, for the future. Like, what if I do want to watch that show?
Actually, honestly, if someone told you the end of Breaking Bad and you didn't care, you would forget about it.
Or would I? Like, I don't know. You know, so, I mean, if it's so crazy, I
never forget that stuff either.
Yeah, if it's so crazy, I could remember it.
Yeah, I feel like there's also like a period of time when it's like, okay, if that episode just aired like within a month, like don't spoil it, or a movie just came out. But if it's been like 10 years or whatever, it's kind of like, well, look, whatever. You know, like, man, it's too late. It'll get spoiled.
We can't watch every show ever made. This? You know, a new generation can enjoy Star Wars because everyone knows whose father is whose.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, that's what comes with things being really good and getting really famous, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't mind spoilers after the fact. I mind spoilers the day before the show airs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because so much stuff gets leaked now or gets put on the internet so quickly. Like,
yeah. Did you hear about Orange is the New Black? That whole thing?
No, what's up?
I guess like some guy hacked like a whole season of the show that's not out yet and was like threatening to upload it or already did or something crazy.
Damn. Yeah. Social media, like, just like if you want to watch a show without spoilers, just stay off social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Tumblr's the worst because then you get to see it in motion.
Yeah, because like people would just like upload an entire scene with subtitles there, like as a GIF file, which always annoys me. Is like at that point just upload the video. But what I want to see someone do is just get an entire film and just upload it in GIF form, the entire thing. So you just got to scroll through all that.
That would be very time consuming and not very fun to watch.
I mean, Rick and Morty sort of did that where they leaked a full episode on I think Instagram, except you could only upload 2 minutes of video. So it
was like little segments. I remember that. That's funny.
It was aired backwards, first of all. So like as soon as people noticed, they had to keep waiting for them to finally release the whole episode because it was,
and then
they
clicked backwards.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
But that
I
reminds...
loved how they put that episode, the premiere, out, like just live streamed it. That was pretty cool.
Oh, this reminds me when the Aqua Teen Hunger Force theatrical movie was coming out, and they played it on TV, except they shrunk it down and played it at the very tiny bottom corner of the screen while regular Adult Swim programming played. Yeah.
Those wacky Adult Swims.
Yeah, only the...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Anything else about Clarence?
I don't know what I like. I feel like I should wait before I spoil anything too much.
Oh yeah. But I guess
that's like coming later in the season. But we got some special guests. Kate Berlant is going to be in the new season. Brent Weinbach, who I mentioned. There's an actor, Michael St. Michaels, who's in a movie called The Greasy Strangler that I really like, who we got to do a voice in an episode, which is like a thing that probably no one's going to know what that is, but if you do, you'll be really excited. What else? Let's see. There's an NPR host. I'm not going to say which one, but one of the hosts on NPR will be in an episode. Which, if you're an old person, you'll like a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was like none of these guest stars are like stuff that would like get kids super excited about the show.
It's like
do kids even like? I feel like do kids like guest stars? Like I feel like that's always for adults anyway, right? Like,
yeah, I think so.
Like kids like the cartoon characters. Like they're not like, I want to go see Steve Carell. Like, they want to see the Minions. They don't know who does the voice, right?
Well, the only time I could see it working is if it was for, like, a crossover of a different show. You know, like, check out Miley Cyrus now on Clarence, you know? Like,
true. But we didn't do that. We'll never do that. It's the show's ending and we didn't do it. So.
You can't do it now. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, no choice but to not do that.
Also, let Nolan speak.
Maybe that would have saved it, you know? Like, we did one big... that was a joke. I threw out that premise a while ago that, like, we would do a Christmas special and we would just flip all our rules on their heads. So it would be, like, anything that we would always, like, poo-poo and say no to that we would do in that episode. So, like, it would just be all celebrity guests, like... But, like, people that, like, specifically we didn't care about at all, but, like, that we thought, well, like, most people would, you know? Mm-hmm. Try to get like the biggest name we could possibly and throw them on the show in like a very cringy pandery way as a joke, but I'm kind of glad we didn't do that. Ironic bad episode.
Hey Nolan, you were trying to say something earlier.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that was like forever ago.
Well, thanks for nothing.
Did you ever see? This is what it started with. Sorry, I get nervous and talk a lot.
But I don't know, it just reminds me of Yo Gabba Gabba, where they just have all these weird celebrities that come on for some reason. Like, mostly bands and stuff, like bands kids would not recognize.
Hey guys, the Super Music Fringe show is on.
And now, here's MCR with their holiday classic, Every Snowflake's Different.
Yeah, but I always thought that's kind of for the parents. Like Sesame Street has done that forever. Oh, yeah. That's kind of like a nod to. I always saw that as like a nod to Sesame Street or something, where it's like makes it more fun.
One of my favorite Lost Sesame Street guests was the Wicked Witch of the West. There was this whole episode where her broom stopped working, and she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna fuck up Sesame Street," and she starts terrorizing everybody in Sesame Street. And then everybody's like, no, but the Sesame Street is so cool, Wicked Witch of the West. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, my group's fixed, so I'm gonna go now. Bye. And then she leaves. It never aired, but
no,
weird. Didn't it air, but only once? Because it's lost media now.
The forbidden episode.
Our good buddy Blame It on Jorge covered this, but I forget if it never aired and only test audience saw it, or
maybe that.
Because this was way back in the 60s, when it was still black and white.
Is there a Clarence episode that was just an idea that was shot down that no, you cannot air this ever?
Like one that we pitched and they said no to?
I guess so. Anything that was just rejected.
I feel like typically it's stuff that we shut down in the writer's room before it even makes it that far, because we're like, oh, this is kind of like in poor taste or whatever. There was something that we wanted to do where we had an idea for like an episode about a tornado coming to hit the town, and they were kind of worried that like maybe it would air and there would be a natural disaster that would happen simultaneously. And so they said we couldn't do that. And then they also didn't like this idea that we had where we thought it would be funny to treat it very seriously in the episode, but then at the very end, the tornado would kind of Tasmanian devil out into Uncle Grandpa, and then he'd be like, good morning. And that was like how the episode would end. So it would be like very sincere and serious up until that point. And then it would just end on like a really goofy joke ending sort of. And they were like, no, like if you're going to do anything with that character, it has to be like a proper full crossover that we can promote and say this is a crossover. And we were like, oh, but come on, it'll be funny. Like we'll just pretend it's like a disaster movie, and then the ending is really silly, and just have him give some speech about like, I taught you guys a lesson about, staying together or something, helping each other. Like, I don't know. So that was one thing that they didn't go for the kind of ironic, dumb ending on a serious episode, but we thought that would be a funny kind of goof on the audience a little bit.
But that's so weird because they, Comedy Central, was it, promoted the Adventure Time Futurama crossover, and it was just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember them promoting that as a crossover. That's funny. Yeah,
well, on social media,
it was like a one-off gag. Really?
Social media was a huge promotion.
Well, there was the Steven Universe Uncle Grandpa crossover, and in that one he has a list of characters that he's crossing off, and it ends with Clarence. And so we thought it would be fun to kind of give a little nod to him. But there's something, but I won't spoil it. But there's something that we did kind of in lieu of that, but I won't say what. And then what else? There was an episode we did, a premise we pitched called Clarence the Friendly Ghost. That was basically
Does he die?
Us. Well, it was us like kind of making fun of how his head shape is sort of similar to the Casper head shape, and we thought it would be funny if like he fell out of a treehouse and hit his head on a rock and died, and his ghost came out of his body. And it was like the whole episode would be him floating around as a ghost, like pulling pranks on his friends and family. And like the version that we definitely couldn't do was that like everyone was just very depressed that he was dead, and he's just floating around like, isn't this funny? I'm pulling pranks. But like we couldn't do that dark of a take on it. But that was one that got approved, actually. Because when I was a kid, I fell out of a treehouse and hit my head on a rock, and that's why I'm who I am today. I'm just kidding. But like we thought it would be fun to do an episode like that. But then we're like, this is too, like, just the idea of him being a ghost was too like wacky, and we just didn't like how like over the top it was. We kind of threw it in because we wanted to do what episode was it? Puddle Eyes, where he falls asleep in a mud puddle and the mud crusts over his eyes, and he's walking around not being able to see the whole episode. And we're like, we were scared that they would take it the wrong way and they wouldn't let us do it. So we threw in Clarence the Friendly Ghost with that batch of premises, thinking it was like a red herring episode that they would be like, oh, you definitely can't do that, and then they would ignore the other one that we really wanted to do. But they approved both of them, which was really nice.
And you chose not to do the ghost one?
Yeah, we just thought it was a little too stupid.
I want to see Clarence die.
Okay, when I said I wouldn't ask you for more vocal requests, I'm a filthy fucking liar. Basically, there's this line in Casper the Friendly Ghost in the original one where he's like...
in the cartoon or in the movie? Or
in the live-action movie.
With Hilary Duff?
With Christina Ricci.
Yeah, with Christina Ricci, he's in the bed with her, and it's super creepy, and he goes, "Can I keep you?"
You want me to say that as Clarence or Casper?
I don't know.
I don't know how Casper talks.
He's sort of like this, right, Casper?
I don't know.
I don't know.
In the old cartoons, that's how Casper would talk. I don't know how he talks in the movie, but in the cartoons, he'd be like,
Clarence saying that.
Oh boy, I'm so sad. No one wants to be my friend.
Right. Wasn't that in the old cartoons? He has that kind of voice.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh no! Woe is me! I just want to make friends, but I've frightened everyone away.
Clarence would be like, "Can I keep you?" I just want to keep you. Come on, what's the big deal?
Oh, God.
I just want to. Can I keep you or what?
And
Oh,
can
man.
I take all these clips that he says and just animate
Oh,
the
no.
stuff of Clarence?
To
Will you put it
Casper?
up on your channel?
To Ghost Casper. Make a ghost, and then
Yeah,
and
Ghost
then
Casper.
like After Effects it into the scene with Christina Ricci.
I can do
Hey,
that.
hey, Christina Ricci, can I be your best friend?
And when,
I'm a spooky ghost, but I'm still cool.
and when Christina Ricci says no, just have him say, "Oh no, I'm all wrapped up in trouble."
Oh, geez, I'm just wrapped up in trouble today. That's okay. I'll make some ghost friends. Oh, man. Oh, boy. But, yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm looking at the episode list right now of the third season.
Oh, yeah.
Valentine's.
You don't have to spoil everything.
I'm going to read the premise for every single one. No, I won't. But,
Okay, I think
some cool stuff.
Since you said Casper becomes a ghost, since this is now canon, I'm assuming this is how the series ends. So
Can that be the
Clarence
final
becoming
episode?
That's a scrapped episode
No,
that will not air. It was not produced, unfortunately. Sorry to disappoint.
So this is technically a creepypasta.
Kind of, yeah, like the scary Squidward or whatever.
Squidward suicide, yeah. Like,
Oh, jeez.
the episode where Clarence dies and becomes a ghost and haunts his family. It's
But it
sort of,
wasn't scary. But it wasn't scary. It was like silly. It was,
on
like,
on
stupid,
paper
but-
that sounds kind of scary because he's dead.
now we're gonna have 13-year-olds who write creepypastas be like, "It's time." And
no, it's a 13-year-old walks up to this podcast, listens up to this point, and goes, "Can I keep you?" To the idea.
Can I keep this idea? Yeah, maybe I'll upload stuff like after the series ends, like little, like I think there's we have a crew Tumblr called the Aberdaily that has a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but it would be cool. I've kept a lot of like little snippets of ideas and things that people might get a kick out of at some point. Maybe when the series is officially done airing, I'll upload some of that stuff. Would be kind of cool.
Yeah, an episode too hot to air.
Too hot for TV. But yeah, there's a lot of web shorts coming out too that haven't been uploaded online, and those are pretty cool as well.
So I know a lot of the Steven Universe web shorts usually end up being like one big like 11-minute episode cut into little parts for web shorts. Is that how you guys do your production as well?
Well, technically it's like every season there's one 11-minute chunk that's cut up into web shorts. But it's not like it's one story that we split up into parts. They're all standalone shorts. And we always say like the web shorts are like the least, we like abide by the least rules on them. Like they're not really canon if there is a canon on our show. Which, I'm not a stickler for that kind of stuff.
This is where Ghost Clarence could have been a thing. You had an opportunity.
As a web short. Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, it's like kind of not a full episode idea anyway. But yeah, there's some cool web shorts. Like there's one where like Clarence gets a Midas touch, but it's a Belson touch. So everything he touches turns into Belson or like some form of Belson. But yeah, just we got to do like some kind of more surreal, weird stuff. Like the Buteras, Lindsay and Alex Smalls Butera, who do Batman Piderman. They did a bunch of animation for us in an episode called Tuckered Boys, about the kids staying up late and then they start to kind of hallucinate as they get more and more tired and sleep deprived. And they did all the special animation for that. But they also did a standalone web short called Beans. That's pretty cool. That's like all one shot, like one still camera shot. And Clarence kind of goes in and out of frame, and it's like very, like if you're familiar with their animation style, it's very fluid and fun. Those guys are awesome. I think they did some other stuff for some other shows too. But anyway,
I remember seeing that Batman Piderman episode, the Clarence episode by them at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that one's so fun. Oh man, I really love that one. Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming out in season 3. Like, look for more character building and world building stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but is that all for Clarence, you guys? Because we got some news.
Yeah, is there anything else?
Yes.
Clarence is dead. So yeah, that's technically canon for me. Clarence
Shit,
is
come
dead.
on, man.
No, he's not dead yet. There's a whole lot of stuff airing.
We can call it the
2018.
the real final episode.
It'll air through 2018.
No. I meant the ghost thing.
I was gonna say because like, do you know how
the series ending?
I mean, like, do you know how rude it is to be like, your show's dead? Right?
I'm talking about the ghost. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it
Clarence
that way.
is dead. Who cares? Like, moving on.
I don't know. I just want to picture that the final episode. I don't know, but hey, let's get into the news.
Oh, Casper, the friendly ghost. He wants you all to know. He has lots of friends, and they're all right here to put on their very own show. Oh, Casper, the friendly ghost. His heart's as good as gold. And he's always tried to be good and kind to everyone young and old.
So yeah, the Gorillaz are getting a cartoon TV series. It's going to be 10 episodes, and it's set for 2018, and co-creator Jamie Hewlett will direct the first and the last episode. But there's not much info about it, but they do say that the characters will be 2D, but they don't say if like the backgrounds are going to be mixed media, which I think that's what's going to happen. And they don't say where it's going to air, but I'm kind of thinking maybe Adult Swim or just Netflix or whatever.
I'm really hoping they incorporate the rotoscoping they did with Adult Noodle, because that looked great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the one racing thing. But now they're back and just making all these animations. And there was this one interview where they had like some guys in a motion capture suit, and and they had a live interview.
Yeah. There's some like CG stuff where there's the bodies are CG and it doesn't look super good. They just like are floaty-ish. That's the only way you can describe their movements. Like they're fluid, but they look robotic and not good.
Izzy, we're barely starting this technology in live, doing this technology live. You know,
okay. First of all,
I mean, we don't have the budget.
If the technology's not there, do it in private.
Whoa,
There's no reason for us to do it in the field tested in front of everybody.
Rude. It's like, geez,
you're rude.
Are we talking about motion capture technology?
Yeah, motion capture. You know,
we're talking about live animation.
Doing it live, yeah.
That's so easy.
Easy. Nolan, let's see your motion capture facility. Let's see yours.
Okay, everybody. Let's hop in the car. We're gonna drive there right now. It's in fucking Santa Monica. I share it with Sony.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that the new Gorillaz animated series is gonna be a live show?
Oh no, it's gonna be no. We're talking about this live interview that they had for some. I'll link it below.
Okay.
But for this live interview, they basically had real humans interviewing the gorillas, and it's these CG motion capture gorillas sitting there, and the guy who's motion capturing Murdoch is just having such a fun time. Like he's constantly twitching his fingers just to see how the thing moves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But apparently that isn't good enough for Izzy or Nolan.
What are you talking? I said it's easy. I didn't say. I haven't seen. Yeah, it's the same thing as fucking waving a magic wand and then the fucking computer tracks and just puts a graphic over it. It's the same. You're just rigging up models and shit.
Yeah.
People. Okay, I saw this Metal Gear Rising animation where the guys had like Sam and Raiden, and they go to this like bar and get really drunk, and then they start playing like Just Dance for the Wii, and he literally did motion capture with a fucking Kinect, and it looked fine.
What?
Anybody can fucking do it.
Well, to be fair, the only other person that you hang on. The only other person that I've seen use the Kinect for motion capture is this one movie called Where the Dead Go to Die, and obviously we don't want to be compared to that.
Actually, excuse you, good sir. Paranormal Activity 4 also did the Kinect.
What?
Yeah, they they used the Kinect to show Toby the ghost, and it's so funny because he just looks like a little bald Saitama, and he just walks around and pokes people, and that's it.
What? Hang on.
I love Paranormal Activity because the first one, if you hate it, that's fine, but it's just a ghost movie. They weren't trying to really do much else other than make a spooky ghost movie. And then as each entry happens, they get progressively dumber and it looks awful.
Yeah, I'm on. I looked it up. Paranormal Activity 4 Connect scene. I'll watch that later. But wow, that really did happen. They used the Connect.
Spencer,
Okay,
Spencer
first of all, just because you say use the Connect is actually a very advanced technology. I don't know why you're shitting
It's
on
sold
the
at
camera
retail.
Right, sure.
No
But
advanced technology is sold at retail, Izzy. That's a lie, and you know it.
That's how they're doing the new Avatar. I heard all Connect.
Yeah, whenever that comes out.
Actually, they're using the Wii, the original Wii.
Yeah, they just have all these straps like the Wii. No, the reason why production takes so long is they don't wear the strap and they keep having accidents on set.
Yeah, James Cameron got hit in the face with a Wiimote and he had to go to the hospital.
James Cameron, just do it. Just finish your damn Avatar sequel so we can be done with these things.
Do you watch like bad horror movies or what are your types of movies? Because I've recently been on a movie kick and I've got a ton of movies I've watched recently that I want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of into anything. I used to be really into horror movies, like any kind of horror movies, but lately I don't really watch them as much. It's just kind of like too violent. I don't want all that stuff in my brain. But I watched that movie Your Name that's in theaters right now, an anime movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of that. It's really cool. I really like that a lot. Yeah, but I'm like an anime kick. Like I watched a bunch of movies that I just hadn't seen before, like just kind of like anime movies that everyone who likes anime says you should watch, and I'm just kind of educating myself a little more. Like I watched Paprika, which for the first time, which I really liked, and Tokyo Godfathers, which was really funny, and I liked that a lot. What else did I watch recently? I've been watching just a bunch of like the Studio Ghibli movies that I hadn't seen yet, like Porco Rosso, and like some of the ones that aren't exactly like the most popular ones. Just sort of filling in my gaps of knowledge with all that stuff. So that's been pretty fun.
Have you watched any Ghost in the Shell?
I have not. That's one on my list though that I want to check out.
Good.
Kind of like, are you saying I shouldn't check it out?
No, Pan would say it, but I'm saying good. Please watch it. Pan is alive.
I'm like, it's boring. This sucks. Watch Akira, a real anime movie.
Akira, I own that on Blu-ray. I love Akira. And I have the manga too.
Yeah. If you want a movie that kind of feels like an anime, but it's actually shot in live action, it's also a horror movie too. Not really a super gory one, and the gore that is in it is really cheesy because the movie was made in the 70s. It's House.
I love that movie, House. Yeah, that movie's great.
Oh, dude!
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the cat and the weird body parts floating around. Yeah, that one's so cool. It's like somewhere between like Scooby-Doo and... You know what movie I really like too is... what is it? Ricky O? Story of Ricky? Have you seen that one?
Oh, that sounds extremely familiar.
Yeah,
it's like really crazy. It's based on a graphic novel, but it's very stylized, very violent, and I think it takes place in the future. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's like this guy who's in this like future prison, and him kind of fighting all these other guys in the prison, and like it's like really crazy, gory, like blood spraying everywhere, but like in a cartoonish way. And there's a character who like can get really tall and expands, like a lot of like practical effects and weird, like crazy, sort of along the lines of Big Trouble in Little China, like some of that kind of weird stuff. It's really fun if you haven't seen that movie. It's very violent, but like not in a realistic way, in a like cartoon blood that looks like paint way.
Yeah. Okay.
That one's really cool.
Yeah, I also really love So Bad It's Good movies. Too.
Oh yeah, me too. Like The Room, Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, that a classic. But I also want to watch Neil Breen movies.
Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch of those. My friend turned me onto those, and me and her watch those sometimes. Like she's a big Neil Breen fan. She's like contacted him and everything. And she's like super into it.
Is that the guy with who owns way too many laptops?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of if you've seen Decker, it has to have been some kind of influence on Tim Heidecker's thing, Decker, because it's so similar. It's like this guy out in the desert on these laptops, and It's always baffling to me when it's like something that's coherent and you can tell there's like someone in the production pipeline knows what they're doing, whether or not like the person at the top knows. You know, like it's like The Room. Like the reason The Room is so funny to me is because like the cameras that it's shot on are pretty nice, and like everything like more or less makes sense in theory, but the writing is so bad and the acting is so bad. That's what like makes it. So it's like this bizarro world where it's like, hey, let's like give $1 million to like a terrible idea. Like,
No. It's really
perfect.
funny. It's funny you mention all that because I've researched The Room extensively because it's such an enigma to me. It's actually self-funded by Tommy Wiseau himself. He raised $1 million by like apparently there's a rumor that he sold jackets or something. And he's also done a lot of other illegal stuff. The book, The Disaster Artist, who is written by co-star Greg Sestero.
Yeah.
It's going to be adapted into a movie with the Franco
James
brother.
Franco. Yeah, I actually listened to the book, the audiobook version, and Greg Sestero does a really funny impression of Tommy Wiseau. It's like pretty spot on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I listened to that book. I didn't read it, but I listened to the audiobook version, and it's like so bizarre. The behind the scenes stuff on that movie is like, I really like Birdemic. Have you seen Birdemic?
Dude,
that's kind of another one on there, like sort of similar, a lot lower production value, but
yeah, but the second one was so disappointing.
Well, it's kind of that thing of like once the people are a little too in on the joke, it ruins it, where they're winking at the camera and they're like, we know it's bad. Isn't that funny? And you're like, oh, now they know it's not funny anymore.
They become self-aware.
It's too self-aware, exactly.
No, but the problem was it was stuck in a limbo. It was like James Nguyen didn't know. He thought he was making a serious sequel, but then the producers backing it did know, and they were telling Nguyen, hey, you should put this in there and put that in there.
Right. And then it's just like, oh, you're making like Sharknado or something that's like intentionally very campy from the start, and that kind of like, you know. Yeah. I really loved. I saw Snakes on a Plane when it came out, and I really loved that they did that like contest where people could decide what the big line in the movie would be. Wasn't there something like that?
Yeah.
And that's where like I've had it with these Snakes on the Plane. Like that line came out of that.
Yeah, the TV version is completely different, but the theatrical one was
Monday to Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, because they changed. I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane, but on TV it says,
enough is enough. I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. Everybody strap in. I'm about to open some freaking windows.
Yeah, which I was reading that he actually recorded that line. Like they filmed him recording that other line, like the TV version, which I guess is like common practice on a lot of bigger budget movies where they're like, well, we know this, we got to make a TV version. So just imagining being on set and having him say that is pretty funny.
I think it was done afterwards, like ADR. They just added the voices later because right after he says, everybody strap in, we're about to open some freaking windows.
Oh,
it's especially funny too. Because they did the same thing in Scott Pilgrim, but in Scott Pilgrim they actually had a joke where Julie was being censored as she was cussing out Scott, and Scott goes, "How are you doing that with your mouth?"
Oh, that's funny. That's cool. I love there's a Big Lebowski TV version where he says,
"This is what happens, Larry. You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? This is what happens. This is what happens when you feed them scrambled eggs. What happens, Larry?
Feed a goose scrambled eggs." Like he just says all this nonsense. That's pretty good. It's another favorite bad dubbing censorship.
Yeah.
But yeah, what other movies have I really been into lately? I'm trying to think. I mean, the last movie I saw in theaters I think was Your Name, that anime movie, which was really good. It was just cool to see like a 2D animated movie in a movie theater. Like I feel like we won't have a ton of chances for that, unfortunately. So it's like, oh, it's nice.
Except for My Little Pony coming out this October.
Oh, didn't know about that. That's cool.
I have a story about an anime screening. I tried to get my dad into anime because he just kind of doesn't give a shit. He's past his prime. He's sort of, he's just sort of in that state where he's just kind of enjoying life and he doesn't give a fuck anymore. So I thought, hey Dad, want to watch some of my Tokyo cartoons? And he said, sure, Nolan, why not? and I show him Evangelion, and he thought it was pretty cool. And
Cool.
yeah, and Evangelion 3.0 was coming out in theaters around my area. So I can't drive, and I didn't have my friends to take me at the time because I didn't know anybody. And I just moved here, and I said, Dad, will you take me to see this Chinese cartoon in theaters? And he says, sure, Nolan. And I go, and it's a small screening room, and it's not on a huge screen. It's on a projector screen. And I'm surrounded by filthy weeaboos and a guy in a trench coat. And just to have a laugh with a laugh only I would appreciate, I go, hey guys, who's your favorite waifu? And the trench coat guy took me completely seriously. He goes, Ray, man, gotta love the silent type. And I just said, oh.
Wait, Rayman? Like the video game character Rayman?
No, Ray Ayanami from Neon Evangelion.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the character Rayman.
No.
Which would be even more weird.
No, it's like Ray, comma, man.
Oh, see, I haven't seen that, so I don't know. I didn't get the reference.
You should watch Evangelion. It's a good show and the movies are okay, I guess.
But how funny would it be if it was Rayman, like the video game, and then he pulls out like one of those like life-size body pillows, but it's Rayman.
But it's just a bunch of little pillows split apart.
Yeah, exactly. Like the head and the arms and the leg.
This is not safe for work, but I'm kind of wondering, do you think Rayman's dick is like close off his body?
Oh boy. It's not that kind of show.
Oh, and you yell at me for bringing up my niece.
Scott Aukerman is always saying, it's not that type of show, guys.
Rayman did have a TV series briefly for 6 episodes. He was voiced by...
oh, really?
He was voiced by, who plays Fry from Futurama? Billy West, yeah.
Billy West, yeah.
Yeah. Although I think it only aired in Europe and didn't air in America.
This is Rayman. This is a man called Ray. Rayman is the star of the action-adventure game Rayman 2. Ray is not. Rayman can shoot, swim, swing, fly, and even water ski. Ray cannot. Rayman has friends and enemies in dozens of epic worlds. Ray has a sister in Florida. So, remember, it's Rayman, not Ray. Rayman 2 for Nintendo 64.
There are so many like awkward, bizarre podcasts or radio shows out there. Allison Pregler, who does movie nights and Obscure Slubo, she linked a podcast on her Twitter that was reviewing Bill O'Reilly's murder mystery book, and it was very obvious that Bill O'Reilly was self-inserting him into the main role and saying how great he was, and it also it was kind of a weird character study. Because there's also a lot of killing, and there's like the people he's killing, his self-insert, are like a lot of the political alignments he disagrees with or hates, and it just really goes. If I can find it, I'll relink it because it was a really fascinating character study into the mind of Bill O'Reilly, who is now fired.
Speaking of, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live
with a mocap suit this time.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly with a mocap suit, and
that's what he was referring to.
Okay, but you guys want to get into some questions now because we recorded an hour and a half.
I mean, I guess. When do we not? Pan, when have we ever had the option to not do questions? When can we not? Like, why don't we go do something? Why don't we go bowling?
Excuse me for asking. We're not in the same area. We can't go bowling. We can play virtual bowling. We can play Grand Theft Auto 4. Or was it?
Hello, cousin. Would you like to go bowling?
Remember that classic meme? Great.
Oh, the only classic memes I remember are Sonic versus Mario Sprite videos.
Yeah, we need an episode of Clarence where Clarence goes on Newgrounds and he discovers like, oh yeah, Super Mario Brothers Z, and he decides to be a Newgrounds animator, and he realizes, wow, this is hard.
Oh, I was gonna say we had an episode idea at one point where it was like Clarence uploads a video of himself doing something like kind of boring and lame that like a kid would do, just like, oh, I'm just like playing the recorder or something like silly, you know, and then he gets like a negative comment on it, and then he like goes to try to find the person who left the comment, but then I guess Uncle Grandpa did something really similar, so we don't want to do that.
Oops.
I used to do these videos called Eggo Waffle Girl, which is about as terrible as it sounds. And I remember I used to be very protective of my name and my location and stuff. I didn't want people to know who I was, so I went by the pseudonym Johnny Skeetos. And I got an anonymous comment that listed my full name and a huge comment about how they were going to find me and kill me.
Scary.
I was like, oh no! But obviously nothing happened because all death threats online are complete bullshit. So.
Yeah, I've had like some negative stuff directed towards me online, but never anything that bad. You know, like sometimes there'll be stuff where like people will send me a private message and it's something like, because you know, like I'm not like too shy about where I lean politically, and I know people don't always love that, but I don't care, whatever. Then don't follow me. Who cares? Or just watch the cartoons and don't follow me online. I don't care. But not always. Like it's usually people are pretty nice, I think.
Izzy says, "I'm back. I had to close a window due to geese." Did geese try to break into your house?
And she's dead. Anyway,
you're a fucking asshole, Pan.
What did I do?
I like muted the mic just so the geese wouldn't be a thing, and then you over here read it out loud. Why do you hate good quality things, Pan?
You're being attacked by geese. That's not something that happens every day. Or
no, it's like literally like both me and Nolan in this podcast was like, hey,
you're in the public chat where Spencer can hear us.
No, this isn't like to make it less professional for Spencer. It's for to make it for your quality. We are literally trying to do the best for your channel.
This makes for a great story. Just like you're being attacked by geese right now in your own home. How often does this happen?
Shit.
I mean, I'm being very professional on my end because I've been eating candy for like 10 minutes. So hopefully that didn't. I was eating
donuts and flying this whole time.
I was like, is this going to be loud and crunchy?
Speaking of geese, I have to walk to work every day, which is really nice because I don't get exercise ever. But the geese are always around the area, and they just walk around, just doing their thing. And sometimes I just talk to them because I'm kind of lonely. And one of them fucking hissed at me, and I just said, "Excuse me, bitch." And then I like yelled at him, and he walked away. Yeah. I was like, "That's what you thought, bitch."
Don't mess with geese. No, don't do that.
I say in my fast food uniform, I say, "Don't fuck with me," and then I walk off to work to serve.
All right. Since we're talking about geese now, so I find it very fascinating. I now live next to a pond, and so like ducks are the most fascinating thing I've ever watched. Like there's little turf wars. We have little ducklings. There was like one geese there, so it felt like a Pokemon thing where they have the one form, and there's a little bit more of the middle form, and there's like one of the fully evolved form that protects the whole area. But like I don't know, ducks are very fascinating. Like me and my roommate have been reading up on them. I found out that ducks are like very known rapists.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Like
what am I getting into on this podcast?
Terrible. Why are you?
Oh boy,
Pan, this is all because of you. But yeah, you find out that like female ducks have like 7 canals, so that if a male duck rapes them, there's like 1 in 7 chance that it'll bear their children.
Anyway.
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
You want to talk about geese, Pan? We got this. Let's do it.
Have you ever stolen a baby duck from its mother? Because I have.
What the fuck's wrong with you people?
I'm kidding. I just wanted to see how people were reacting.
What the fuck? So, you guys want to get into the questions?
You want to talk about DuckTales?
Fuck no.
Coming off of that.
You want to talk about that one messed up live-action DuckTales skit someone made?
Oh, Fatal Farm made that. They're the same people who do Lasagna Cat. Their production studio.
Oh god, are we thinking about the same one? You know, the one where
with the kidnapping.
Oh god, okay.
Those guys are great. Have you seen the new Lasagna Cats that they made that came out? They did this one video where they had people call in and leave a message, and then they like exported this video in like a week that was over 4 hours long, and it's really elaborate. Anyway, it's really cool. I think those guys are great.
Yeah, but I guess I'll link it below, but there's this one DuckTales live action skit by Fatal Farms, and I don't know, I saw it once and I was like, I never want to see this again.
They did a whole series of those like alternate TV intros. Like there's a Knight Rider one, and I think they did a Golden Girls one and a couple other ones that are pretty funny.
I'm afraid what those are going to be.
That's the DuckTales. They're not all like that. Like they're all just like different takes. Like some of them are just really goofy and not creepy like that one is.
All right. Questions. If anybody has a question or comment, be sure to post them in the YouTube comments of this video in the comments section. Oh, and also we got the Fan Junk playlist. If you have any videos related to RebelTaxi or Pan Pizza or me or whatever, send it to me at rebeltaxi@yahoo.com. And we have the Fan Deviant Art and Fan Reddit. But our first question is Martin Lemon Sucker. Question: what do you like better, The Simpsons or Futurama? I personally like Futurama better.
Is this question directed at me?
Oh,
or
just in general
everyone?
to all of us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how can you choose between those two shows? They're both really good.
Yeah.
I love Futurama because I think it has like a very specific sense of humor and sensibility, and I love sci-fi, and I love that it has like some real sci-fi storytelling in it, like mixed in with the comedy, which is pretty cool. Simpsons, without the Simpsons, there wouldn't be a Clarence, or there wouldn't be a Futurama, or any of these other shows. So you got to give props to the Simpsons for being like groundbreaking in that way.
Yeah.
And they're keeping it going after 1 billion years. Futurama, isn't still on.
No.
But maybe it'll come back one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
But the good
yeah,
thing about
what do you guys think?
The good thing about Futurama and Simpsons is that they're both so different from one another that they can stand on their own. Like one's a family comedy and one's like, I guess, characters in college or 20-somethings. But if I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's like it's not really about a family. It's like sort of a workplace comedy, I guess. Futurama.
Yeah.
Because they all work together, but
if I could explore one universe, I guess I would explore like Futurama like that. I think it does have a more fascinating world since sci-fi, so of course it has more going on.
Yeah, like there's so much they can do with it, which you could say the same about The Simpsons too, but there's just something about sci-fi that lends itself to a lot of different storytelling.
I would say that Simpsons is more relatable, but because Futurama is so much more deep-seated to the fantasy, like fantasy and sci-fi.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think subconsciously, Futurama just has more
Who is scrapping food in the back?
My bad.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Scraping some soup out of a pot. I got hungry. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Ruining your podcast.
Oh, it's okay. This podcast was already ruined.
Yeah. We're good.
We're in too deep. This is already This is already a train wreck.
Just ask our fan base. They'll agree that it's been ruined for about 50 episodes.
Yeah, it's never gonna end.
We don't have Jim. Ken's not around.
Ken's lazy, so he doesn't want to. We still talk to him, Yeah. Yeah.
Talk too much about fetish stuff.
My niece Nicholas kind of is considering.
Okay, you're done.
Hey, don't shame me. Don't shame our relationship.
Oh my God! Don't call it a relationship.
I have some news today because yesterday was a great day. Because I don't know. Never mind. It's not appropriate anyway. Yeah, but okay. So yeah, I guess. But in general, I guess I would watch The Simpsons because it's more. No, I think Futurama. Honestly, I don't really care. Whatever. I can watch both if I want to. I don't have to decide between the two. What's the point of this question?
They're both great, and I think, doesn't he have a new show coming out?
Oh yeah, Matt Groening announced that he was going to make a new show, but I don't think there was much info about it, so I didn't report on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Matt Groening Matt Groening is just ready to be done. He's just ready to move on, but The Simpsons keeps pulling him back.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at 11 on Cartoon Network. The action cartoon sci-fi comedy drama that redefines action cartoon sci-fi comedy dramas.
What the hell was that?
Futurama!
This is fantastic.
Futurama!
It's gonna be fun on the bun.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at 11. And there's only one place you can find it. On a TV equipped to receive action cartoon sci-fi comedy dramas.
What does that mean?
Futurama, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at 11 on Cartoon Network.
Question: what genre do you think will replace superhero movies when the normies get tired of them? Honestly, I don't think nothing, because look at comic books. Comic books weren't always about superheroes, but they kind of eventually just became the major thing, and now that's what most of comics are now. I mean, there's still some comedy and drama stuff, but most of everything on comics is superheroes. So I think it's going to happen with the the movie genre, because like, what can you do next?
I think Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is probably.
It's gonna be like, it'll turn into that thing where there'll be like a million Star Wars movies, and they'll be like, do you want to see the new one? I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it. Like, I feel like it'll turn into that.
Okay, well, here's my thing, because, like, in the 80s, there weren't really that many superhero movies, but we had just, like, all these Schwarzenegger and Rambo movies of these, like, muscular people and at the peak of physical condition, like, living out a fantasy, essentially, and now that superheroes became a thing and everyman action heroes became a thing, like, like, ones that don't have to work out too much, like, those people those muscular figures kind of like lessened in popularity, and all these superheroes took over in movies. So I think superheroes are the end of it. Like, that's as much as we're gonna advance. It's over.
Well, yeah.
Superheroes won.
I guess so. I mean, I think eventually people will get tired of it, and there'll be some other trendy like genre thing that becomes very successful.
I mean, I think it's like, it's going to be just like standardized, like, like, oh, another horror movie comes out this week and another superhero movie comes out this week. Like, it's just going to be standard. It's not going to be an event,
Right. I feel like everything is becoming so streamlined and so franchised, and like everything has a universe now, and everything has like a line of, sequels that are going to come out for tens of years from now, and there's something about that's kind of just like a bummer. It's like I'm so tired. Like I'm super excited for the new Twin Peaks to come out, but like beyond that, I'm like kind of tired of remakes and reboots and all that kind of stuff.
It's never.
And
gonna
you just
end.
know there's gonna be more. Like, like everything is gonna get rebooted. Like, you can just name one thing from your childhood or whatever, some popular thing from the 80s, and you're like, yep, there'll be a new Gremlins. There's gonna be a new whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, because it's already so on trend right now, and I don't know. It'd just be cool to see some new original movies and TV where it's like, hey, you can be inspired by this stuff that you like, but why don't you kind of put a new spin on it or make it your own without having it be like an extension of that thing? I don't know.
Or just make something based off a book no one cares about, since that sort of counts,
Yeah, at least it's like more original than rebooting something that was already adapted.
That was already popular at one point. Like something, I'd rather they reboot or make an adaptation of something no one really thinks about or cares about, and then that thing becomes more popular than what it was adapted from.
Yeah, or just make something completely original. Like, I don't think it's that impossible. Like, I feel like it's less about like creative people. Like, I think there's a lot of people out there who have great ideas, but I think it's more about what's been proven to be financially successful, and people are like, well, it has a built-in fan base. Like, people grew up watching this thing, so if we make a new thing and slap the logo on it, they'll come back. So I understand that, but I just want people to take more risks and make some new stuff.
It just makes me glad that the indie scene is more viable than ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I mean, when Kickstarter is also a good thing too, because I mean, making movies is a lot easier and more organized than, say, making a game. And people have been conned out of so many Kickstarter games. But if you kickstart a movie, you could film a proof of concept pretty cheaply and be like, so this is what we want the movie to look like. And you have less of a risk of it turning out to be a piece of shit than a game.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I guess a game is more complex in a different way or something.
Yeah. I mean, plus making a game is really, really expensive these days. And like when people are thinking, oh, why is this Kickstarter game so short, or why does it not look as good? And it's just like, because it only asked for like $500,000, and that doesn't take much to make a game.
I mean, all the time and effort that goes into that stuff.
Yeah, but I want to keep trying to make. I want to try to get into making movies or videos sometime. I'm not necessarily interested in it as a career, but just to see what I can do. It's a fun hobby.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I would love to make a movie at some point.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any have you ever pitched anything to Cartoon Network?
I have not. I have a couple ideas of things that I'm writing and working on, and I would love to pitch to them if they would have me. at some point. I feel like the stuff I'm writing isn't really like a 6 to 11 range, but there's some other Turner affiliated stuff that I could probably pitch it, like Adult Swim or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to pitch something at some point. Like I have a couple different ideas that I'm not going to talk about yet, but maybe at some point I would. But yeah, that would be great. That would be really cool.
Aside from a few things, Adult Swim has just been like hitting them out of the park with Samurai Jack and Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah.
Their programming is really solid.
There was some weird stuff with like the $1 Million Extreme, all that stuff, but beyond that, like everything's. I love all the Tim and Eric like Absolutely stuff. Like I love Tim and Eric's bedtime stories, and a lot of their animated stuff is really cool. The new Samurai Jack is great.
By the way, so a character returned on Samurai Jack, and I said, "Yep, I told you this character would return, and I was right." I mentioned on the podcast, one guy, Anyway.
Yeah, like I thought that was cool because it just felt like an extension of the show as opposed to like a reimagining. Like it just was like, oh, like if they had another season, this is what it would be. So that there's something kind of cool about that.
Yeah, but next question. Jack Tolsman says, question, have you ever been in a situation where you legitimately thought you might die? Mine was during a camping trip. My friend and I was walking back to camp, and I saw a small dark shape out at the woods. Being stupid slasher fodder, we got closer for a better look, and within 20 to 30 feet realized it was a boar that was now looking right at us. We didn't move for about 5 minutes waiting for it to leave, hoping we wouldn't get gored to death. Since I'm typing this, we made it out alright, but it could have turned out much worse. How about you? So yeah, did you guys almost die one time?
What a grim question.
When I was younger, I choked on a piece of melon and had to get the Heimlich maneuver.
Holy crap.
I thought I was going to die when I was a kid. But
wait, did you make it out okay? Did you live?
I died. I'm a ghost now. I've been a ghost the whole time.
Oh, shit. The Clarence ghost is real.
It was
canon.
Me. Yeah, that time. I like my dad's friend's mom was the school nurse. And she happened to be nearby, and she gave me the Heimlich, which was she saved my life. Spit out some melon into a sink.
This reminds me. Go on.
Did you send her any flowers or a thank you card?
I mean, I was a child, but I saw her at school, and I thanked her in person. I don't know. I think I was a little too young to know that was what you should do in that scenario.
Spencer, you should send her a thank you card now.
Maybe I think she'd appreciate that.
Remember decades ago when you saved my life by
she probably does.
Heimliching a melon out of my trachea? I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm sure she remembers it. Yeah. That would be nice.
But this is related
to you guys?
Clarence, but last San Diego Comic-Con, I was having stomach problems and I almost overdosed on Nexium. But anyway, so I was still feeling sickly to my stomach, and I was on a plane ride to San Diego, and I decided, I'll watch Cartoon Network on this flight, and they were playing the Clarence episode, some episode where he was sickly and just all gross looking.
Straight Illin.
I think that's what it was, and I was watching that there, and I just felt even worse. Just like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, for the people who don't like gross out stuff, that's like one of the grosser episodes of our show.
You made my situation worse. Thanks for that.
Sorry about that. He eats 500 deviled eggs and gets really sick. It just started with wanting to do. I really like the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum that I mentioned earlier, and we wanted to do like a body horror, like transformation kind of episode where Clarence just increasingly gets more horrifying looking throughout the episode. So they even did like a series of character designs for him that would track. So it'd be, I think they did like 4 or 5, where it was like a way to track his like deterioration throughout the episode and like how grotesque he gets. But that was pretty fun. Yeah. But sorry, it made you feel more sick.
Anyone else almost die?
I have a similar story to the Asker. Except it didn't happen to me. It happened to my sister and my dad. My grandparents, I don't know if they still do, but, well, it's my grandma now, but my grandma owns a cottage in Eagle River, Wisconsin, and it's deep in the forest. It's a it's like a neighborhood but surrounded by forest, and my sister and my dad are fucking health nuts, and even when on vacation they feel compelled to go running for like hours, and they're just running, they're doing their own thing. My dad's a fucking decrepit fossil, so he's kind of trailing behind, and my sister is fit, and I think she was either late teens or early 20s in that time, and she's just chugging along, and then she stops because she sees a fucking bear like 10 feet away from her.
Well,
I think it was a black bear, and I don't know which ones are more aggressive, because apparently like the black or the brown bears are more aggressive than the other, but she just stops and she's frozen in place, and my dad's like catching up to her, and as he does, the bear just walks across the street and then looks at him like, what the hell, dude, and just walks off into the other side of the forest, and they book it all the way back to the cottage, and they're like running as fast as they can. It was obviously kind of alarming in the moment, but when you look back on it, it's just kind of funny.
Oh, God. Ever since that one grizzly bear audio recording thing I listened to, I am terrified of bears.
That was fake.
I know, but still, the implication of it is still pretty scary, you know?
Wait, what was this thing?
Oh, there's this one, okay, I hang out on this website called the Lost Media Wiki, where they document lost footage and cartoons and whatever. And there was this one about the Grizzly Man, this guy who loved bears, and there was this one time where I've seen that movie, the Werner Herzog movie. Yeah, his demise came when when a bear ate him and his girlfriend, and someone supposedly has a recording, but it's confirmed fake.
Yeah, it's in the documentary. He says like, no one should ever hear this. And then she's like, you're right, Werner, you're right. And then they don't play it in the movie out of respect.
Yeah. But anyway, so someone faked a recording, but I listened to it and was like, oh, this is fucked up. Why did I listen to this? And yeah, so now I can never watch We Bare Bears the same way again.
We Bare Bears is so cute. Charlie
I don't trust them. You know, I don't trust Grizz. He's kind of a jerk. You know,
Grizz? That's Chad and Clarence.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you share the same voice actors, those two.
Yeah.
But anyway, March Archer says, question, do you guys feel that colleges teaching animation are worth the money and connections, or is it smarter to
Worthless.
Yeah. No, actually, as someone who teaches,
of course I do.
teach animation in college. Like I teach it. I've taught at two different schools.
Izzy, that's a conflict of interest. You can't say that. You can't.
I'm literally against it.
Oh, okay. So you're against your own students?
Okay. So here's the thing. I think in this day and age, there's so many resources online that like you can kind of be picky and choosy whether or not you want to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, you probably should at least get a degree. But like for the most part, a lot of the resources online are there. You know, you can learn how. Like I'm self-taught for more or less. Like when I went to college, the one college I taught at, when I went there, because I went there first, I was taught animation by a film editor who took one Flash course and was now apparently qualified to teach 3 classes of 2D animation.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to really like be picky and choosy and like research the school, and not just like look at like who is pumping out the people working, but like also like, you know, call the school, ask them a bunch of questions, you know, and make sure you feel like your money's gonna be worth it. If it has a huge price tag, you know, really, like, if it's local and has a huge price tag, maybe it's not, you know, the perfect thing if you're in the Midwest area or something. Obviously, if it's closer to one of the areas where the networks can be a little bit stronger and more powerful, that might be more useful. But honestly, I felt like college was more making friends and hoping that one of them also lands a gig and able to give your word in versus actually learning anything.
So
everything I learned was on the job.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that it's important to go to school for it because it's just an opportunity for you to develop the skills. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff online, but you're not going to make those connections, and it's really important, like, to get a job, that you need to know people that are also in the industry, and it's tough to break in just without knowing anybody. And if you work with a lot of other people, you can collaborate on projects, and maybe one day you could hire them or they could hire you, or you could work together. And so I think, it sucks how expensive schools are, and it sucks that people expect you to go to school. Like, I wish the whole industry was just based on talent. Like, it was just based on, here's a portfolio, this person's never gone to school, they're all self-taught, but their work is really great, and we'll give you a job. But it doesn't always work like that. Like, I know,
That's true.
Like for Cartoon Network, for example, they won't let you apply for an internship unless you're currently in college. So you have to be enrolled in college in order to apply. So that kind of sucks. Like, it would be cool if they had people, who are just great at what they do, but I think it's just a quick way to make sure that people are committed to working in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's just unfortunate that a lot of it has to do with money, like, because school is so expensive, and not everyone can afford it. But if you want to learn a skill, you can learn online. And I guess the other side of the coin is that there's still a lot of opportunities for people that didn't go to school, just by trying to get recognition online, putting your portfolio out there. And, like, you could make a short on your own, and it's not really that expensive. It's just time consuming. Like, if you get a version of Flash or something, you can make a little web short and put it on YouTube. Like, it's possible for anyone to do that now,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, and the reason why I'm so jaded is that, like, up until this week, really, I have a job, and literally everything I did, I learned on that job, and I'm self-taught. And then, like, I can't move to LA because my student loan that I went to an art institute for, it has handicapped my career in that way. So, like, I'm super, super jaded by it. So I guess more of my caution is, like, make sure the school's worth it.
It's a tough call. Like, I definitely learned a lot more through working on Clarence than I ever did in school, specifically about the industry and how, like, a pipeline of production works and all those kind of practical things. Like, what is this person's title and what does that mean? Like that. I don't think I really learned that at school. But yeah, it just depends on what program you're in and what school and everything, of course. And but yeah, it's tough. I think meeting people is important, though. I mean, there's still people. Even today, I sent an email out to someone that I knew from school who I haven't seen in years, but I was thinking of them. Like, oh, this person's work would be great for this thing that I want to develop. Like, maybe I can ask them to help me with some character sketches or something. So I think making those connections, that's really important. And there's other ways to do it beyond school. Like, you can, reach out to people online or find communities online of like-minded people. Or
like I was saying, it's like, even in Indianapolis, we have a WebComics group that meets up and just, like, has either they go to a library and work together, or they get pizza on, like, Saturdays.
Or like go to like a comic book convention or whatever, like something that's related to what you want to do. I mean, you can meet people that way too.
Izzy, does Bleed Man go to that group?
No.
Why do you bring that up?
Yeah, that's weird. What's weird? What? I don't.
What's the connection?
Bleed Man is
I don't know what that means.
Bleed Man is a webcomic artist.
It's Nolan. There's a trillion group. There's a trillion webcomic artists in the universe, Nolan.
Oh, shut up.
Han doesn't go to it.
I don't go.
He's a webcomic.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Spencer, you went to school at CalArts, correct?
What?
Yeah, I was in the experimental animation program at CalArts.
Yeah, I was gonna play devil's advocate to the connections in college thing, because I feel like you have a better chance of making connections on the West Coast, because I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah,
I'm in school for animation, and, like, I think it's like a gradient scale, sort of, and because if you're going to school on the East Side, I think you just making connections is a shot in the dark, because I just so happened to have a class with somebody who used to work at Disney, so
right. Yeah, it's like you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's an important skill to have, is just to be able to be social and to reach out to people and not be afraid of like, oh, I'll send someone an email and ask for advice, or, you know, I mean, like, I've had people email me stuff, and if I have the time, I'll look at it and give them a response. You know, as long as they're nice about the way, nice about the way they ask. Like, some people are kind of rude, and you're like, what? I'm not gonna do this for you if you're gonna be so mean about it. Like, you're like, look at this thing now. Why didn't you look at it yet? And you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to be nice, like, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's plenty of ways to go about it. But yeah, I think school, the best things that I got out of school were just like connections with other people that I've like since collaborated with. I think that's like one of the good reasons to go to school and to learn software and practical things like After Effects and editing and how to animate and all those kind of things. Because now I have like the basic skill set, if I really wanted to, that I could produce something on my own. So I think that's a cool thing to have, you know, and then you can get a job through that skill set as well. Like posting stuff online and building up a portfolio and everything. Or you can just do life drawing a lot and study stuff. There's so many tutorials online, YouTube and books and everything about it.
I guess what we're trying to land on in this is there's no exact way of doing it. And,
no,
you know,
there's
for
not.
some, it's going to like a traditional school setting. For others, it's learning on your own, figuring out stuff and posting online. But I think the two big things that you can come from what you're saying is networking. So have your stuff out there and be talking to as many people as possible.
Yeah, and just don't be afraid to reach out to people, and also going to events and meeting people in person, I feel like makes a much better impression than just another like text-based connection online, you know. Like having a face to a name, and like if you go to a convention and give someone your card at like I don't know, like they have something out here called CTN that I've been to a couple of, and like exchange cards with people, or even just going to Comic-Con or whatever, like something, or, you know, like some kind of comics convention where there's like other artists and people that are like-minded.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great way to meet people. But yeah, I don't know. And then there's some other people that are just really talented and their work shows for itself and kind of proves itself. And you can just post your stuff online, and I don't know. It's like 50% trying really hard and 50% being in the right place at the right time or something.
Yeah.
Stupid Cal Arts.
It's just stupid Cal Arts. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually think that.
So basically, there's tons of resources online, and you can go to college if you want to, or you can just, you know,
just learn on your own and make really cool stuff and post it on Vimeo, and then it will become like the video of the week, and it'll get all these hits, and then it'll get reposted a bunch, and then you'll get a job.
That's a really good thing. Vimeo. So a lot of people like to put stuff on YouTube. The best way to compare YouTube versus Vimeo is YouTube. A lot of people will see it, but it might not be eyes that really necessarily matter. It might be just, you know, an audience. Versus Vimeo, less people will see it, but that's where all the professionals are.
Yeah. I mean, I just get scared to promote self-promotion too much, where it's like, I feel like, I don't know, I've heard that, like, especially younger kids who are trying to become animators or work in the industry at some point, they're like almost becoming too focused on, you know, like, how do I get a Twitter following, or how can I get a lot of people to look at my Instagram? Like, I just focus on the skill set first. Like, I think that's more important ultimately, is like being able to draw and to animate and to edit and whatever it is that you want to do, like getting really good at that. Because the promotion stuff is like, it's kind of secondary to me.
I'm always really concerned about the online following being a deterrent, though. Like, as if like we're going to be seen as divas for having a larger one.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like, well, do you want to be a celebrity or something, or do you want to be good at a skill? Like, I don't know if those are necessarily like you know what I mean, like the like what the goal is there. Like, sometimes that can be a little murky, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm just having a self-reflection thing right now, but yeah.
Please say it out loud.
It's like, I hate that stupid CalArts, stupid college, and I hate anyone who went there. No offense to you.
Why do you hate the college? What do you hate about CalArts? It's a good school. I liked it.
Okay, so everyone sit the heck down. We're going to be here for a while. That's not really, but anyway. So essentially, it's one big circle jerk of just like, ooh, look, that guy went to CalArts, and that guy went to CalArts, and that guy went to CalArts, and that guy, and this secret code A1114, that's CalArts, and it's just one big circle jerk of, and all these creators always say that they went to CalArts except for some. But what I want to do is just like, I don't know, make a list of all the cartoon creators and stuff, and who didn't go to CalArts, you know, like show that you don't need that school, because a lot of people just assume that CalArts is like the instant entry to that stuff, you know?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that went to CalArts that aren't really doing anything, or they dropped out or whatever, and
so
there's a lot
failed.
of people that did other things or went to other schools and are doing really well for themselves. I mean, I think it's, you know, like the Disney thing, I think, you know, people see it as like, oh, CalArts, that's like a prestigious animation school because it was started by Roy and Walt Disney, and that's really cool. And it's, you know, it's a good school, like it really is. And but it's not the end all be all for animation at all. Like I don't think anyone who went to CalArts thinks of it that way. It's sort of like some kind of weird outside perception.
Yeah.
Like I think if you went there, you're a little more grounded about it. Like I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's a school. There's a lot of other schools. You can go to those schools, or you can not go to school, and you know, it doesn't automatically make you really talented if you went there. I think it's more just about what you put into your own education, no matter where you go, and just how much you're dedicated to the art form. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen that a lot, like the CalArts style, which I would argue that it's just because, you know, Cartoon Network, Adventure Time got really popular, and then people that worked on that show got their own shows, and so everything kind of looks like Adventure Time. But I don't really think it has anything to do with CalArts necessarily. Like I think it's more like the Simpsons. I would blame the Simpsons.
I gotta keep
all
this
these shows kind of look like the
reception.
Simpsons.
And Pan just wants to have this rant. Just give it to him. Just let him have it.
I don't know. I've just seen a lot of this stuff on like Tumblr and stuff. I'm like, well, it doesn't really make sense. Like the reason like Gravity Falls and Clarence and all these shows look the same is because they all look like The Simpsons. That's what I think. I mean, when you really like trace it back, like, you know, like those kind of bug eyes and like really flat sort of doodly style, like that's The Simpsons. Like I don't think there are a whole lot of animated shows that looked like that before them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like CalArts necessarily, because there's a lot of different art styles that have come out of that school. Like,
so what you're
there's a lot of
saying is
people I know
Simpsons did it?
Fuck.
I'm just saying Simpsons did everything. Simpsons is the. That's why you got to give props to the Simpsons. That without them, there wouldn't be any of these shows.
Has anyone done like that? The chapel thing, but instead of God, it's Homer. Like,
wait, what do you mean?
You mean the touchy, the fingers touching?
Yeah. Like it needs to be like Homer and the creator, just like doing
Matt Groening.
Yeah.
Matt Groening, yeah.
That'd be amazing. Someone needs to do that. Yeah.
Go to heck, CalArts.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you need to go to CalArts. I think there's like it's nice if you go there because people seem to think of the school in a specific way, and I think for good reason. I mean, it's a good school, but at the same time, it's not to knock people who didn't. I mean, there's a ton of people that I worked with at Cartoon Network that didn't go there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. As long as you're good at what you do,
and you're not
really hard at it. Yeah, you're not a jerk. Or you could be a jerk, too. You're really good at what you do, but then you have to be, like, really, really good.
So...
And then people let you be a jerk.
Whoa.
But I don't think anyone should be a jerk.
I guess this is the end of the podcast. You don't need CalArts.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, you don't need CalArts. Just be dedicated to your craft and be nice and collaborate with people and reach out to people.
There's one question someone asked me to ask you.
What's that?
Is the list... Was that the creator's choice, or was it meant to be part of the character, like for Clarence?
I don't know what the difference between those two are.
Yeah, I don't either. But that like literally the question was.
I would say both. It was the creators. It was Skylar's choice to be part of the character.
Yeah, in retrospect, I don't realize because literally the question is ask him if the list was his creative choice or was it meant to be part of the character. If you can't, like, that made no sense. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, it wasn't like obviously my Clarence voice is sort of like a take on the original voice. I think it evolved and changed a little bit. I don't know how much I actually even lisp anymore. Like, I don't do like probably like I don't really talk like that like as Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a little bit more like this. I guess it's kind of similar, but it's like. I don't know. It's evolved and changed. I don't know if that answers the question, but
I don't even know what the question is anymore. I am so sorry I interrupted the
But yeah,
it's
both part of a conscious choice that was part of the character, definitely.
Yeah.
So basically, the answer to the question was the question.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very meta.
We're way too insightful. This podcast this week.
Well, I guess now is the final, the end of the podcast. I'm Pan Pizza. Who are you people?
I'm
Spencer. Oops, sorry. Spencer RothBell.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yay.
I'm Izzy.
Oh, if you want to go on more uncomfortable, I can talk about what I did last night. Essentially, finally, I like.
Thank you guys for listening.
I finally made it to second base.
Hi.
Clarence,
with a girl.
Call us out. Do this.
No.
Say bye.
Bye, everybody.
No, no, please don't go. I got a
See
story.
ya.
No.
I'm a ghost.
I'm going ghost.
I'm a ghost now. I'm gonna go out and haunt Aberdale. See ya.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's 5 fucking a.m. I don't feel like recording a song. This is bullshit. Fuck all of you. I'm leaving. Good night. It's 5 a.m. I don't care. Fuck everything.